Hello everyone, I am the Wastelander, and in this video I will be visiting some Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and Fallout 4 locations you probably haven't been to before. This will essentially be a compilation video made up of all the entries in this series, added in order of release date. I've taken out all the intros and outros, so it'll flow better. The editing may be a little all over the place, since the videos added go back to early on in this channel's history. Now for the spots we're going to, they're a mix of marked and unmarked locations, some hidden in plain sight, and others a little off the main path. Last thing I wanted to say before we begin is if you're a fan of Fallout, then please feel free to subscribe. I have some cool videos coming up that you may like. The first place we're going to is really close to the beginning of the game. We're just going to go into Lucas Sims's house here. Walking inside, it's just a regular Megaton house, except for this little hatch here. We can open hatch to Megaton, which brings us up to this balcony area. We can walk up these stairs, and we get a really nice view of Megaton. Of course, this location isn't actually marked, as it's part of Megaton, but I still think it's pretty cool. I used to shoot mini nukes off of here back in the day. You can see kind of the void outside of Megaton. Look at the grass off the hill right there. I got all the way on top of his roof. Now you can really see what I was talking about. The void outside of Megaton. Because of course it's not going to load in the entire world. Just the cell we're in. It's kind of cool looking. Wasn't my intention to see any of that. But it's still interesting. Can we get out there? Dude, no way. This is trippy. I haven't done too many boundary breaks in my day. I had really only planned to see that balcony area of Lucas Sims's house, but here we are. It's so liminal out here. Look at all the grass floating in the air. Very cool. The actual void. Well, this is probably a place you haven't been to, which works out, because I'm sure a decent amount of people are familiar with that balcony we were just at. I'm really surprised I haven't fallen through the ground yet. Whoa, look how far back the grass goes. So odd. Very cool. I just wanted to see if there's anything lying around out here, but there doesn't look to be. The pipe goes down really far right there for some reason. It's kind of pretty out here. Clouds look cool. I've walked to the other side to see if there's anything else, but there doesn't look to be, and there's definitely no way back inside. I didn't mean to get so distracted by this, but here we are. I guess there's really only one way out. Let's go ahead and jump off the edge here. Oh. Okay, I guess we can just walk out here. How far can we go? Sorry, I'm getting really distracted, but we have to see this through. Whoa. We're far enough that Megaton is just dropping out a render distance. Look at all the grass that's showing here. Why would they even add this in? No one's ever going to see it. It just keeps going. I'm really surprised we haven't dropped off the map by now. I feel like I'm in some sort of purgatory or something, I don't know. I mean, look at this. It's like I'm flying. There's still hills and stuff out here. I've fallen off a couple of them, but they haven't been big enough to cause any damage. I'm just so surprised there's still grass out here. Look how far out I am from Megaton. I was trying to go to downtown DC to see if anything else would show up, but it's still just grass and clouds. Well, anyway, that was kind of interesting and unexpected. Let's head out of this void to our next location. Hold up, man. What's going on here? I don't think we can stand for this. No, come back. Oh, man. I tried to help. Alright, that's the last time I get distracted this video. The next spot we're going to can be found under this bridge, just through this door, located about here on the map, a little west of Chevy Chase North. Of course, this is unmarked, and let's head inside. It says open door to shelter. We see this nice little piece of art here, with some pencils holding the whole thing up. We also find the head to a giant statue down here, and some plungers, which is definitely foreshadowing. And then we enter the plunger room, which is such an odd little location. I don't even know where to start. There's a ton of plungers all over the floor, and then some up the wall, and there's bloody handprints all over the wall and the ceiling. It almost looks like someone was using the plungers to help them get up this wall here. We see these plungers kind of laid out in the shape of a person, with a metal helmet acting as the head. Then there's this gnome on the table, with a bunch of syringes shoved in his eyes and ears, and he's holding a stim pack for us. There's more plungers on top of this filing cabinet, and a mannequin here, with one on her head and one in her hand. And that's pretty much it for the plunger room. There's really no explanation for this area, and it's definitely easy to miss. It'd be pretty easy to walk past that door. Let's go ahead and head out of here. This area definitely could have made it on the next Freaky Places in Fallout 3 video, but that video will be long enough anyway. Now we get to Fort Independence, which can be found here just southwest of Megaton. Of course, you've probably been to Fort Independence plenty of times and traded in tech to protect their casting right here, but I feel like a lot of people haven't gone inside, at least not to the area we want to see, which of course we're going to have to fight through all these Brotherhood outcasts, but that shouldn't take long. Of course they have their standard barracks here, a little kitchen area as well, but that's not what we're after. Heading into the lower level, we can open up this door and get past a couple more of these guys. We can snake through their little surgery area and research station, and we find a very hard locked door. Inside we find a nice little armory with the missile launcher, which shoots out missiles that act like grenades and don't explode on impact. Couple mini nukes as well. But what's most interesting about this spot is inside of these ammunition boxes. There's alien power cells, only 18 in total, which I think these scale with your level, but don't quote me on that. I didn't realize those were here for the longest time, and back when I used to play when I was a kid, I would use up all the alien blaster ammo pretty early, so this was nice to know about. Once I figured out it was here, of course. But yeah, I feel like that's another place a lot of people haven't been to, and it holds some pretty great loot. I reloaded a save so the Outcasts weren't mad at me. Did you know Outcast is now in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Pretty cool. Let's go ahead and head west to our next spot, which is really only an honorable mention. Now we pass by Smith Casey's garage and continue west until we see a rock with some little flags hung across it. There's also a coat rack out here. And we can look at this rock further and it says open door to Rockopolis. Rockopolis can be found right here on the map, just a little west of Smith Casey's garage. And of course, this is another location you may not have been to, but like I said, this is more of an honorable mention. I'm sure the majority of people have been here because we can find the unarmed bobblehead in this location. And Argyle, who's a character we can hear about in a radio broadcast in this game. If you're ever trying to get all the trophies for Fallout 3, of course you'll have to come here for that bobblehead. But still, it's kind of a tricky place to find, but I won't spend long here. We have some more places to explore. This spot is pretty well hidden. There's no map markers for it, but it can be found here just a little northwest of Paradise Falls. It's an ant tunnel, and we can open the ant tunnel to Musty Cavern. Heading inside, we see kind of a standard cave and a bunch of ants. We see a lot of bones in these piles. I can see 2 rib cages and the top of a skull right there. There's a lot of eggs over here as well, and the cave itself actually goes up kind of high. We can find a headless raider and a Wastelander here at the end with some chems, and that's pretty much it. That light coming in doesn't really look like it makes sense, but that's okay. This is definitely one of the smaller locations on the list for this video, but I'm sure not many people have been here, especially since there's no notable loot or collectibles. Little locations like that really make the world feel more alive, I think. Right down the hill we can find this abandoned tent, which looks to be pretty similar to the ones in Point Lookout that we can find by the beach. I feel like I've seen Brotherhood Outcast at this tent before, but I can't remember exactly. Heading inside we can find some ammo, some Nuka-Colas, a Nuka-Cola Quantum, and a bed that's not set to owned. It definitely feels lived in here. This spot here can be found just northwest of Paradise Falls as well. You ever notice in Fallout 3 how there's just a ton of robots wandering the wasteland? I wonder why that is. Here's another unmarked location, which can be found right here, just north of Canterbury Commons. We can open the sewer grate to drainage chamber. We can walk down here, turn to our left, and we see a little radio room with a skill book and a pre-war book. And then across from that, we can find a little survival shelter with a couple of skeletons. But that's pretty much everything for this spot. That one was very hidden away. The northeastern corner of Fallout 3's map is so liminal. There's just like nothing out here. I think empty would be a better word actually, not liminal. Look how outside of the map here it just goes completely barren. We're once again looking into the void. And now we get to Rivet City, which of course everyone has been here if you played Fallout 3. But we're going to jump down and swim around to the backside of Rivet City. Then we'll just go ahead and swim over here. And this little area just south of Rivet City, you probably haven't been to. It's an odd little area with some DC ruins, which are just facades, stretching along all throughout the background. This area is really swampy, reminds me a lot of Point Lookout. We can find a skeleton here with a shopping cart, and some food, and a bunch of cans. Then this little pond here, all the cans are floating right side up for some reason. There's a little boat over here with nothing inside. Then a much larger boat here with radiation barrels all around it and some ammo and a med kit inside. And that's pretty much it. It's just an odd little area right outside of Rivet City, which I didn't know was here for the longest time. I remember playing Fallout 3 as a kid, and I was bored and just exploring random parts of the map, and I was wandering around back here and found this. Anyway, let's go ahead and head to our next location. This area will be in downtown DC, so we'll have to take a few metros to get there. One of my favorite parts about Fallout 3 is all the locations that are downtown. I also like that in Fallout 3, physics just don't really matter that much. Having to find so many of these locations through this maze of a metro system really makes the exploration interesting. And it makes it pretty easy to miss a lot of locations. Definitely gives Fallout 3 a lot of replay value. And here we are. We can open the metal gate to Takoma Park. Now, Takoma Park is actually a really cool area, and there's 3 different spots I want to show you. Like I said, areas like this are so easily missed. Oh. Excuse me. Anyway, finding areas like this is just so cool in Fallout 3. Takoma Park itself is located right here, just a little northeast of the Statesman Hotel. When we first arrive, we see this little main street area, but the first real area I want to explore is Nifty Thrifty's. Let's head inside. Of course, this location is unmarked, but it's a unique little place. Looks like they sell toilets and bathtubs, radios, different appliances, and we can find the Takoma Park Little Leaguer cap, which is a unique item, which gives us +5 to explosives and melee weapons. In here they're selling a fridge, and then this room is the office. There really isn't too much else of note in here. It's just a little store with a unique item, but it's very easy to miss. If you get distracted by those super mutants outside, it's very easy to walk by this place. Heading back out to Takoma Park, I like that little bank sign there. That looks cool. Then we can head up this hill and continue along. I wish you could explore some of the interiors of some of these buildings. The outside of them look really cool. Then we come over this hill to see a big factory, and those look to be Talon Company down there, fighting with the super mutants. I guess we'll go clear them out real quick. Taking a left in front of Takoma Industrial, we can open up this gate, and getting on top of the back of the truck here, we see a super mutant behemoth over there. And we can hit this button. Well, that didn't do much. Now, of course, if you have all the trophies in this game, you've been here for that super mutant behemoth, but there's a building over in this area you may not have been inside. So let me get rid of these guys real quick. Alright, now watch this. Cool. Now that that's done, we can go inside of Takoma Motor, which is about right here, just a little southwest of Takoma Industrial. Heading inside, we're greeted to a really dark location, as in the light level here is really low. We can find a skill book here, and that's pretty much it. There's some random junk items here. We can see this car was being worked on, but there's nothing else really of note. I just wanted to show it off because it's definitely easy to miss. Once again, if you get distracted by those super mutants, you won't even notice that this place is here. I do like this little waiting area with the coffee machine. I think it's funny how this shop has no windows at all. No wonder it's so dark. Anyway, now our last spot in Takoma Park, we'll have to go through Takoma Industrial. Heading inside, I've already cleared out all the super mutants here. We can head up these stairs and out this door to this back section of the factory. Going down these stairs, we see this little canal area, which is a cool little spot. I already cleared out the enemies back here as well, but there's this tent, which has some good loot inside, some ammo, some medkits, but that's not what we're after. What we're after is actually pretty hidden away. So what we'll need to do is hop this fence right here, jump over here, and jump to this little railing, walk down here, take a left, and we see this little alleyway. It's kind of tricky to get over here. There's actually not a ladder or anything, so that's pretty much the only way we can go. But we can follow this alleyway down, which looks like a dead end, but it's not, as we can take a right and continue along, and we see this irradiated pool with some feral ghouls in it. We'll take care of them. Once they're gone, we can turn and we see a little setup over here in the corner. We see a couple people in hazmat suits, One is named Jason, and one is named Isabella Proud. And we see they had a little setup here. A bed, a ton of rat eggs, and a lot of rat-away as well. Another radiation suit. And we can see Isabella Proud's terminal, which has a lot of journal entries in it. Now, I'm not going to read all of them here, but the gist of the story is, these were researchers that were studying these feral ghouls, but they started inching closer and closer, trying to get some better research. Eventually, Isabella put this resin on her suit, and Jason's as well, without Jason's knowledge, to better attract the ghouls. Of course, this didn't work out well for them, and we find them as they are now, trying to fly a little too close to the sun in their research, and dying as a result of it, which makes for a pretty dark tale in this very easily missed location. That's just another thing I love about Fallout 3. It'll sometimes reward you with some really cool stories, just by deeply exploring the map. Now let's head to Point Lookout. It wouldn't be a proper Fallout 3 video without going to Point Lookout at least once. You can really see where the map just drops off over there. It's kind of cool looking. Now we find ourselves at the Coastal Grotto, which is right here along the coast, almost directly east of the Ark and Dove Cathedral. And we can look out into the water, and we see that buoy right there. We'll go ahead and swim out to it. Once we arrive, we can dive straight down into the water, and we find a T-Rex skeleton with a safe and some ammo boxes next to it. This is such a cool Easter egg they put in the game. Anyway, that's pretty much it for here. Just this old dinosaur skeleton and some loot. Now let's go ahead and head to our last location. Now for the last place we're going to, we need a little context. So we'll go right here to Pilgrim's Landing and walk down the boardwalk over here to these posters, which says The Wonder Bear, Ruzka. A poster that's pretty easy to miss, even though there's plenty of them around. So keep that poster in mind. There looked to be a circus bear here, back in the pre-war era. And of course, we can find Ruzka in the game. I have a stealth boy on, of course, but she can be found northeast of the Sacred Bog entrance, right about here. We can check in VATS and see that that is Ruzka, a bear that has been mutated by radiation and has lived here in Point Lookout for hundreds of years. I can't even tell you how long it took me to realize this was part of Point Lookout. It's just such a cool little detail thrown in this DLC. I really don't even want to mess with her. Little details like this are my absolute favorite. This is such a hard location to find, if you don't already know about it. I believe Ruzka is larger than the average Yaoguai, and she's definitely the only one here in Point Lookout. Exploring her lair, we can see kind of an impressive amount of remains, and that big red ball, which we can pick up. It's impressive this has stayed inflated for hundreds of years. That's also a unique item, which of course we can't pick up. And this is just such a unique little spot, making it my favorite of all the places we visited in this video. Anyway, let's go ahead and head north. If you're anything like me, then usually when you start a new playthrough in New Vegas, you'll head down this road, go down to the very end past that first mountain, take a left, and then make your way through Black Mountain and go straight to Vegas. Or if you're following a more traditional path that the game has laid out for you, you'll head south down this highway, and then east, and then back up north to Vegas. But there is this road here just north of Good Springs, which we're going to take. Truthfully, I don't know if I've ever tried to go to Vegas this way, so we'll see what happens. We almost immediately see a sign that says Keep Out, and another sign up here that says Keep Out. This little stretch of road looks cool with the hills on either side. And we see a cazador. There was only the one adult there, so it wasn't too bad. We see a crow eating someone's remains. The girls are fighting. Let's take a left off this road. There looks to be an undiscovered location over here. Oh look, more cazadors. There's a little path up this hill here where we can find Chance's grave. Now that stretch of road we were on you may not have been to. Maybe not that grave either, but this will lead us to our next location. Oh, that one glitch is happening again. This spot is the Tribal Village, which can be found here, almost directly north of Good Springs. The scene is pretty rough. There's a lot of dead fiends and great cons. Now we know these two parties do business together from time to time, so I'm sure something along those lines is the cause for this scene. This place is really hidden away, and it would be really easy to miss if we didn't take that road up there. Now let's head down this path here towards Red Rock Canyon. We get to the entrance of Red Rock Canyon, and we see this destroyed house, which is an unmarked location, just a little southwest of Red Rock Canyon, right about here. Of course, there's nothing of note in the house itself. It's nearly collapsing, but there's a basement out back, and we can open the door to the Great Khan Armory. heading down these stairs, and we see a locked area here on our left with plenty of ammo containers, some dynamite on that shelf, and I'm sure those are all weapons lockers, but we'll look at that more in a second. We can also talk to the Great Khan armorer, and she has a decent selection of weapons and armor, even some T-45D power armor. Inside the armory, we can find some revolvers, some ammo, some more rifles and shotguns, and a handful of pistols. There's really nothing that crazy in here, but it's nice to have another vendor. It took me a really long time to realize this was here. It's pretty easy to miss, it being on the opposite side of that destroyed house. Their art's kinda cool. Anyway, we'll go ahead and leave the armory and head back towards that path we came down, and we arrive at Spring Mountain Ranch State Park. There's not much at all in this destroyed building, but if we head out back, we can pass by this pond here to another trail that's pretty hidden away. This is the Spring Mountain Pathway, which starts about right here, just west of Spring Mountain Ranch State Park. We can wind our way through this trail. Of course, New Vegas is mostly desert terrain, but I like that they kind of got to add in these mountain areas as well. Outside of those cazadores, there's really not too much of note here. Once we get to the end of the trail, we can enter the backside of Red Rock Canyon. I guess it's kind of a shortcut, in a way. Once we get to Red Rock Canyon, we can turn, and we see another path here, which is just a little west of Red Rock Canyon. So we'll go ahead and continue our hike. We actually can't go up this way. We have to go through on the other side. We'll follow this road up towards Jacobstown. I really like this area around Jacobstown. Once again, the change of scenery is really nice. There were so many. I really wish there was more locations to explore over in this area. We can get to the trailhead here of the Red Rock Pathway, really hidden away up here in the mountains near Jacobstown. This will lead us back down to Red Rock Canyon. The start of this path is just west of Red Rock Drug Lab. We can head down this hill. I already fought through some of these cazadores. We see some skeletons over here on the left. Then this area to the right with some more cazador nests and a dead super mutant master who's carrying some C4 and a fat man, which makes fighting through all those cazadores worth it. There's even more cazadores up there. My armor is completely destroyed. We start to see some red rocks. We've now made the full loop and finished exploring Red Rock Pathway. But before we leave this area, we'll go make a quick pit stop at Jacobstown, as there are a couple spots over here you may not have been to. Now, of course, Jacobstown can be found right here on the map, a little southwest of Vault 22, and I'm sure you've been inside of the old ski lodge here to complete the mission to get Rex as a follower, and then to complete the little mission to get rid of the NCR from hanging around Jacobstown. But you may have missed these buildings over here. There are 3 of these little lodges that we can go into, so let's go check them out. This first one here looks pretty ransacked. Not sure why none of the super mutants want to live in any of these. There is a Nuka-Cola victory in this one, and a skill book, but that's pretty much it. We'll head over here to this one, closest to the main building. This bungalow isn't in the best of shape either. We can find a service rifle and some ammo, and a dino toy, and one of those little rockets we can't actually pick up. There's a Wasteland omelet in this oven, which I don't know why, but man, these are really valuable. 100 caps for an omelet must be pretty good. That's about everything for this one, so we'll head back outside to the last bungalow. It looks a lot nicer in this one, except for the skeleton laying here. It looks like they were playing cards here at some point, with a lot of empty whiskey bottles, and a Sunset Sarsaparilla Star bottle cap. There's a ton of alcohol in the fridge, in this cabinet, and in these 2 footlockers. There's a lot of poker chips over here, which we can pick up, but can't actually take. That'll be it for the bungalows here. These little lodges are pretty cool. Nothing too much to note in them. Let's go ahead and head to our next spot. Another small unmarked location is right here, this old rail station, which can be found just outside of RepCon headquarters. Heading inside, we see a very decrepit area with a doctor's bag and some cigarettes, some pre-war money behind the register, a lot of it actually, and that's about it. Any unmarked location where there's really no substantial loot or collectible, you'd really just have no reason to go there during a playthrough, which of course makes them easy to miss. From one unmarked location to another, we can find the abandoned warehouse, which is just east of Allied Technologies offices, so it's right about here. Oh, there's a gap in the door. It's not loaded in, so you can just see out the other side. That's awesome. Heading inside, there's no one here, except for a few Brahmin, but there are a lot of cases right here in the middle, which look to be the same ones we can see in Fallout 3 that the Enclave have, but we can't interact with any of them. Then there's a whole maze of shipping containers back here, and a wine shelf for some reason. We'll take those. There looks to be some broken slot machines back here. Up these stairs we can find a door that we can't interact with either. And that'll be about it for this abandoned warehouse. Now, of course, this location will be totally different once we get to the end of the Birds of a Feather quest line. But that's about as much as I'll spoil for now. Let's head back outside. Years ago, I learned how to pronounce jalapeno while playing Fallout New Vegas. I had to do it. We can see the next place we're visiting just ahead. This is the Emergency Service Rail Yard, which is here on the map, just east of Prim. This location is definitely out of the way of the main trail we'd follow throughout New Vegas, so it's easy to miss. Outside there's a campfire. Around back we see a boarded up door. Around front the door is also boarded up, but there are a couple of mattresses and another Star bottle cap. There's this other platform over here which doesn't have anything on it. There's a pile of rubble over here, but of course there's nothing in it. This might be the most insignificant place in all of New Vegas. Other than that bottle cap, which you can find plenty of other ones in different areas, there's literally just nothing here. There's no reason at all to come visit this location. It's a very hidden away area. Up on top of this hill there's a really nice view of the Mojave and Prim. Look how tall those mountains look in the background there. Same way with the ones over there near Jacobstown. If I was ever a game dev, which I'll never be, I would hide the most insane loot in the mountains. Make it like impossible to find. Honestly, I feel like I've never really spent the time to climb these mountains in New Vegas. I feel like a lot of them would be tough to climb, kind of like Skyrim. Anyway, let's go ahead and head east. Now we arrive at the Big Horn Saloon, which is here just outside of Boulder City. Now, of course, Boulder City is a place you'll likely visit during the main story, but Big Horn Saloon is kind of easy to miss. These other couple of buildings are destroyed or boarded up, but we can go ahead and head inside, and we see a nice little restaurant with some light rays coming through the window. It's actually a decent amount of seating in here. We can see they have a dartboard up on the wall, some nice ceiling panels. Someone was playing chess over here. There's a nice bookshelf over here as well, with a ton of pre-war books. Even the glasses back here look really nice and organized. This is one of the nicest bars or restaurants in the game, I'd say. Ike here has a nice selection of food and drinks. There's a door back here, which is just a storage room and living quarters, I guess, with a little kitchen. And that's about it for Big Horn Saloon. It's actually kind of a pleasant location. But we'll go ahead and head out of here to the next spot. I've never noticed that the toy cars actually have a little person in them. Wait, is this one like bugged out? It won't let me pick it up. To let go of the skull? What's happening? Anyway, we can find ourselves here at Colville Bay, which is right here on the map, almost straight east of Grub and Gulp Rest Stop. We'll go ahead and jump in the water and swim out here. We'll have to clear out a few enemies real quick. Now that all those lake lurks are gone, we find ourselves at the Scavenger Platform, which is right here on the map, just southwest of Colville Bay. We can find some ammo, a Wasteland survival guide, and then a couple mattresses, which is about it. There's really nothing else here that's significant. This location is out on the lake, and it doesn't even appear until you get closer to it, which makes it kind of easy to miss. You can see all those lake lurks on the shore over there. That'll be it for this one. Let's head on out. We get to Gunrunners, which of course is right here, just east of the Strip North Gate. Of course, pretty much everyone has been here and traded with the vendor. You can actually go inside of Gunrunners, and there's some decent loot. We'll get rid of these guys, which both of them have full suits of combat armor, which is really valuable in New Vegas. And we can head inside to the Gunrunners headquarters. This is their little weapons lab here. They don't want to talk to me. I wonder why. They're working on an assault carbine here, and then a laser rifle over here. Then we can head back to the lobby, head through this hallway. There's another guard. This will be their little kitchen area, some bathrooms, and their bedroom. That'll be about it for Gunrunners. This is likely a place you've been to, but I still wanted to mention it. Now we'll find ourselves just outside of Vault 3, which is located here, just south of Sunset Sarsaparilla headquarters. Now this whole area is basically a compound. There's walls all around it. After getting rid of all those fiends, we can walk to this side of the compound, which is just north of Vault 3. This location is called Zap's Neon Signs. We can head inside. There's a little lobby area here with some magazines. We see someone named Duke. Grenades just dropped right there. And I think he died. We can get rid of the rest of the fiends here, and we find a little warehouse area with a bunch of neon signs. Heading up these stairs, there's parts of Duke way over here. His eyes, which blew all the way from down there to the top of these stairs. Makes sense to me. There's a little office here as well, where we can find a 9mm submachine gun and some ammo and a couple Nuka-Cola quarts. There's also a bumper sword here, which I feel like are kind of rare, so we'll take that and head on out. Now, of course, I feel like most people would go to Vault 3 at some point, as what's a Fallout game without exploring every vault? But Zap's neon signs is hidden away a little bit, but it does actually have some pretty good loot, so worth it to stop by. Heading just north of Vegas, we see a little junk door right here, and this is North Vegas Square, which is just west of Freeside's North Gate. We can head inside. This is a closed off little area, separate of Freeside, or of Vegas. There's a little playground right here, and a motel here in the back. We can open the door to the gray, and walk around to see some North Vegas residents. Plenty of them, actually. There's a lot of different rooms in here with some mattresses. Feels very lived in, of course. Here's one of those dino toys smoking a cigarette. There's some thugs in here. Looks like there's some blood stains on the ground. Then we can head upstairs, which is pretty much the same thing. A lot of different bedrooms. Nothing really of note. We can see a knife fight going on here between this teddy bear and this dino toy. But that'll be about it for the gray. We can head back outside. There's a ball right here. That's cool. I like this area, how it's walled off. Feels very separate from Vegas and Freeside. And how there's just a junk door to get in here. No grand gate or anything like that. We're now down to our last two locations for this video, which both can be found just north of Vegas. This one over here is pretty tucked away. This is Carlyle St. Clair's house, which can be found about right here, just north of the New Vegas Medical Clinic. We can head inside and see that there's no one here. Now, of course, this location has to do with the Beyond the Beef questline. You see, Carlyle was scouted out by the White Glove Society to be their next meal. He evaded capture and escaped to this house. In the questline, we have the choice to help the White Glove Society and complete their original mission of eating Carlyle. Now let's head to our next spot, which is just down the road. This is it right here. We can pick the door to Mojave Home, which can be found right about here, just north of the Mole Rat Ranch and New Vegas Medical Clinic. Once inside, we see a lot of corn. Oh, my bad. This is actually maize. And there's a lot of it in here. There's some ammo as well. Walking through the house, we can see even more of it. And all the lights hung up to grow the maize. Then in this room, we can see a moonshine still, which explains all the maize. We can even find some moonshine. I feel like this is super rare to find in New Vegas, so we'll take it. And that'll be about it for the corn house. One of my favorite unmarked locations in New Vegas. Anyway, let's go ahead and head downtown. We find ourselves here at the Haymarket Mall, which is kind of a tucked away location here in downtown Boston. There's so many locations really packed together, it's definitely easy to not explore them all. Before I forget, Haymarket Mall is found here in downtown Boston, but we'll go ahead and head inside. Now the mall itself really isn't what we're after. It's usually not a good idea to have a giant open flame like that inside, but of course these are raiders we're talking about. The mall itself really doesn't have anything of note in it, but there is this elevator right here, which we'll take. This floor really doesn't have much of note on it either. We do find some raiders fighting Protectatrons over here, so we'll continue along and follow this ramp and head to the Haymarket Mall roof. Now we get to the rooftop. There looks to be a storm going on, and there's a nice little fountain there. Kind of a chill area, except for that Deathclaw there, which really sneaks up on us. He's probably going to kill me. I think he can block their hits though, maybe. And we got him. And this is definitely a spot you may not have been to in Fallout 4. Like I said, the mall itself is pretty tucked away, so besides that Deathclaw attack, there's this little building over here as well, with a steamer trunk in it. And going all the way down through these floors, we find a safe, which of course was just random loot, like most Fallout 4 safes. Heading back up top, we can also jump over to this monorail, but I don't believe there's really much of interest there. Actually, if we take this ramp, we can walk over here, we find some skeletons, and a Protectron, and another steamer trunk. That'll be about it for the Haymarket Mall roof and this little garden terrace. Let's go ahead and head to Diamond City. Of course, everyone has been to Diamond City during a playthrough of Fallout 4, but there is a certain house that you may have missed. So we'll head up these stairs here, take in the view of Diamond City, and we can pick the advanced lock to the Hawthorne residence. Heading inside, we see a lot of cats, like a lot of cats. That one there can partially levitate. That one's in the floor a bit. We see there's a bunch of cat paintings here in the back as well. Those are pretty cool. There's a lot of beer up here as well. So this is kind of an interesting spot in Diamond City, especially since there weren't cats in Fallout 3 or New Vegas. Kinda surprising to see so many here in Fallout 4. But yeah, once again, easy to miss location. That's kinda unique. Anyway, I won't spend long here. Let's head back outside. I don't know why Bethesda didn't program in these guys to swim around in the water. That would have added a really cool enemy to stumble across. I guess those are mutated dolphins, huh? I don't know. Anyway, on the shore of this little inlet, we find an unmarked bunker, which is located here on the map, just a little southwest of Dunwich Borers, and we'll go ahead and head inside. We see a bunch of destroyed electronics and a door. After we enter the pump house door, we can head down these stairs. We see a little control board here and some numbers on the wall behind us. 0451. We can type in 10451 because there wasn't an option for a 0, and that'll open this door. I think it's really interesting that Bethesda used this here because to my knowledge there's no other mechanisms like this in Fallout 4. Kinda interesting. We'll head through the door and we see a bloody skeleton. I feel like this is also really rare to see in the game. Usually the skeletons are just normal, but this one is quite unique, and I wonder why that is. Beside the skeleton, we see the gainer. We'll take that.
Yes.
This gun sets the target on fire for 15 points of damage, which explains the red skeleton. It's burnt, not bloody. We also find this industrial trunk and a fusion core. The gun's pretty cool. Maybe it wasn't a good idea to shoot it in here, but that's alright. I really like this northeastern part of the map of Fallout 4. It's all coastal and just feels very empty. From one unmarked location to another, we find this row of 4 generators with a fusion core over here, which is just southeast of Andrews Station. We'll call this elevator down and head up to a little settlement here, but it doesn't look like anyone is home. We'll head inside this little RV. We see a cat and a master lock safe, some caps on a table, and a piece of paper here labeled Sleepwalker's Note. We'll go ahead and read it, and it says, "It's a sweet setup, Jamal. It really is. Up so high you don't have to worry about nothing. That drop is the only thing that bothers me. You know how I get at nights, especially after I've been drinking. Up here, if I do go out for a stroll, it'll probably be the last." Yeah, I would say if you have a problem with sleepwalking, it's probably not a good idea to live on top of a bridge. Peeking off the southern end of this bridge, we can look down to see a skeleton. We'll hop on down, and the skeleton has a key beside it, labeled the Sleepwalker's Key. We'll take that and head back up top, and of course this key will unlock the safe, which really doesn't have anything that great in it, but I guess he won't need it anymore. I wish we could adopt this cat. And that'll be about it for the Sleepwalker's Place. A nice little bit of environmental storytelling. Also, feel free to let me know if you've been to any of these locations. I'd be interested to hear if you have or not. Now we can head back to the northwestern part of the map. Look at those mountains there on the right. If I turn like this, they go away. If I turn over here, they come back. You see that? So odd. Anyway, we get back into Concord, where we originally found our friend Preston Garvey, and right about here in the middle of the main street, we find the Concord Speakeasy, which of course is about dead center in Concord, right next to the Museum of Freedom. Heading inside, we're greeted to a little bar area. There's some skeletons over here in the corner. Looks like they were having a good time when the end of the world happened. This guy still has a cigar in his mouth. I'm gonna take it. Thanks. On this main floor, we see a safe over here, with of course nothing major inside. In the back there's a room with nothing in it. We can head over here to the basement, which really doesn't have that much in it either. There is some Wonder Glue and a used oil can. I guess those are good for settlement building. We'll head back upstairs and up another flight of stairs. There's a door here on the left with an advanced lock on it. Inside we find a steamer trunk. Then through this door we'll find another bedroom with nothing much inside. There is a balcony area, which we'll come back to that. Another bedroom here with the door open, and it looks like someone set up some mannequins around a skeleton in the bathtub, and his skull is in the toilet. Another weird spot with some mannequins. Classic Fallout 4. This guy's in bed with one. We find some XL, which is pretty rare. There's a bloody knife under him as well. That'll be it for that room and this entire location. It's a nice chandelier there. Of course, this is kind of an early area in the game, but getting distracted by those raiders out there while trying to save Preston Garvey, you might overlook the Concord speakeasy. Now let's head out back to this balcony. There's not much here either, but we'll jump down and head to our next unmarked location. Now this next spot will be just down this road, a little north of downtown Boston. Here it is. We see the sign up top for a gift shop. This location can be found right about here, a little northwest of the Cabot House, and we can head inside to the Science Center gift shop. Inside this unmarked location, we see a Mr. Handy there. We see a skeleton on the ground with some random junk items on the table and on the shelves. Couple mannequins here in the corner with 3 more skeletons. We can talk to the Mr. Handy, and he just carries a bunch of junk items, which is kind of useful if you're working on a settlement. He actually carries a lot of shipments as well, so it's good to know he's here. That'll pretty much be it for the Science Center gift shop. This Mr. Handy's actually a really good vendor if you're looking for any junk items for your settlement. On the loot side, there's really nothing of note. No unique items or collectibles, but once again, a very easy unmarked location to walk past. We'll turn here and head back downtown. Then right over here, we see some stairs to a blue door, and this is the Prost Bar, which is located here, a little northwest of Swan's Pond. We'll go ahead and head inside, and we see maybe a familiar sight to fans of the show Cheers, which I've never seen, but this bar and layout is a reference to that show, and the word Prost is German for Cheers, which is why this is called the Prost Bar. Anyway, looking around in here, we see it's totally abandoned. Plenty of skeletons laying around as well. The wraparound bar is really nice, or used to be nice. Here's a couple of skeletons still sitting up at the bar, all these years later. See a lot of decorations on the wall. We can walk down this hallway, and there's a pool table area. Much more room to play pool than the Boylston Club. We can go through this door, which is just a bathroom. Then there's an employees only section over here, with an office and steamer trunk. There's some baseball grenades on the table. Are these candles? I can't really tell. It looks like it. A bunch of files here in the closet. Walking back out, there's a little elevated area over here. Some high tops here on the right. Behind the bar, there's plenty of bottles and glasses, but nothing too interesting. This spot really just serves as a reference to Cheers, which is pretty cool. But other than that, there's not too much going on, so we can go ahead and leave. After weaving through a lot of super mutants and gunners, we can finally find the Ticker Tape Lounge, which is about here on the map, not far from where we just were. It's almost directly south of the Fallen Sky Bridge, and you have to make your way up this road to get to the lounge. This one might be the most hidden away from all the locations we've explored so far. So let's head inside. We see a gunner. After he's gone, we can look around a little bit more. These people love to have fires inside. I don't get it. Look at that fire texture on top of that. Makes no sense, but that's okay. Anyway, we can head behind the bar, find a safe, 7 cigars, and a cigar box, and San Francisco sunlights. What a find. And my bad, there was 5 stogies as well. These gunners love to smoke. Let's head up these stairs. We see the rest of the lounge. Nice couches here. They look pretty comfortable. I don't know about you, but anytime I go into a restaurant nowadays, there's just the most uncomfortable chairs. I guess it's by design, so you don't spend too long in there. And they can flip tables, but still, I think there's a gap in the market for a restaurant with really comfy seats. Heading back downstairs, we can open this door to a little bridge area, and this leads into another big room with some tables up here and a gunner laying over here. I guess this is the rest of the restaurant. Then we have the kitchen over here as well. Looks like they were cooking some dog meat. Then we can open up this door to the balcony. Once outside, we can see a pretty empty terrace with some really nice views. We can catch the end of a sunset. There's really not much of note up here. There's some bottles on the ground, a couple frag grenades, some gunners that I shot earlier. That'll pretty much be it for the Ticker Tape Lounge. A really hidden away area, but unfortunately not too many unique items to find inside. I really wish I had some power armor on right now. Anyway, let's go ahead and head out of here. I should probably quick save before the next location, just in case. There's this drainage pipe here at Walden Pond, which I feel like I've never been in. This isn't where I was planning on going, but a little pit stop never hurts. Wonder where this goes to. Oh, okay. A unique enemy, 2 unique enemies, named Tweez and Bear. Looks like we stumbled into their little hideaway. You know what? Maybe I have been to this location. We find a magazine, Tales of a Junktown Jerky Vendor.
Perfect.
There's a lot of uniquely named enemies down here. That sewer drain led us to the Walden Pond gift shop, which isn't a marked location, as it can just be looped in with Walden's Pond. Anyway, that's enough getting distracted. We'll continue south until we get to Carhenge, and we see a super mutant behemoth there, which is why I saved earlier. Carhenge can be found right about here, just south of Walden Pond. We might need a bigger weapon to take this guy out. He doesn't even see us yet. Throw a bunch of grenades. I think it's cool how they can throw rocks in this game. Now that he's gone, we can look around a bit more, and we see some cars stacked up. One of them exploded, but we can still see the resemblance to Stonehenge. And I guess what we're supposed to gather from this is the behemoth was the one who put these cars here, shoved them into the ground, and stacked one on top of the others, which is kind of cool. It gives the behemoth a little bit more of a personality. But I feel like most people have seen this location in-game, or at least heard about it, so we won't spend long here. Not like there's too much to see, other than the behemoth. There's really nothing else to note here, so we'll go ahead and head south. Way down south, near the border of the map, we can find the splintered statue, which we can see a raider working on there. There's some paint on its leg. We'll take a better look at it here in a second. I almost don't want to interrupt his art project. This location can be found here, just slightly northeast of Somerville Place. We'll go take him out real quick. Now he's gone, we can take a better look at the splintered statue, which of course is an unmarked location here. Looking around, we see some paint on the ground, and a paintbrush. Lots of tools around as well, and there's paint all over the statue. His head has been moved to his hand. There's a box of chems in this hand, and a little tent over here with a sleeping bag. So this raider had a little hideout here, working on this statue. Just like Carhenge with the behemoth, this area kind of gives some personality to some characters who really lack personality. I think that makes the world feel a little bit more alive. It'd be really cool if you could put a replica of this in your settlements in Fallout 4. But that's about it for this spot. Whoa, what is going on? I bet if I ran into that it would kill me. Alright, fine, I'll try it. I took damage, but it stopped. Whoa. I'm like, what? I jumped on it and it just shot down the street. It almost killed me. Oh man, I love Fallout 4. Our next spot can be found here, with the sign outside that says Joe Spucky's. And this is located just east of the Cabot House, almost right beside Pickman Gallery. Now that sign is a little misleading, as this place is actually called Mean Pastries. Let's go ahead and head inside. Once inside, we see an empty cafe, except for that cat. There's a whole display case that wraps around. We'll jump behind the counter. Walking around, we see their espresso machine, or something like that. Skeleton on the ground. Some cake pans, and then in the corner we see a porta diner. We'll try our luck. This is probably the best form of gambling. Maybe next time. Then over here there's a couple of booths, and that's really it. Mean Pastries falls in the category of unmarked locations near downtown Boston, which are very easy to miss. But just like the others, there's nothing too interesting here, so we can head out. Our second to last location here is actually marked on our map. This is Breakheart Banks, which for some reason has the settlement icon on our map. Just like Greentop Nursery's a settlement, it's the same exact icon. So I'm wondering if this was originally planned to be a settlement and then was just changed to a regular location. But this is just a really insignificant place. In a corner of the map you don't really go to as often, so I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people have just never been here. Of course, we had found a bunch of super mutants here, which I got rid of, and we can loot what they had. There's a steamer trunk here, some ammo, but nothing else really that notable. There's a lot of corn. But I don't know, I thought this was kind of an interesting spot. There's even these melons over here, which makes me think even more this was supposed to be a settlement. It'd be a cool one, I think. It's kind of a nice view here. Look at this skeleton over here. He's levitating. I love how broken this game is sometimes. That's about it for Breakheart Banks. So we'll go ahead and head to our final location. We'll now enter Salem and head to the northernmost point, and we get tasked with helping clear out these mirelurks. After we clear out the mirelurks, we find ourselves at the Rook family house, which is just north of Salem, pretty much in Salem, way off on the coast by itself. So we'll go and meet Barney here. He immediately invites us into his basement, which usually I'd be against, but for this video, let's just go for it. Now Barney has tasked us with activating his 5 turrets, so we'll help him out and go do that. But first, looking around, we see guns and bullets on the table here, and he has a nice little layout here in his basement. Now we'll head back into town and activate all of these. We can find a fat man here as well. Now all the turrets are activated. We'll head back to Barney. Oh no, they're in the basement. How did they get down here? Barney dead? Oh, he died. We'll take Reba and his key to get Reba 2, which does 50% more damage against mirelurks and bugs. Well, we failed the quest, but still got the rewards. So let's head back outside, and that'll pretty much finish up our time here at the Rook family house. Unfortunately, I think they need to add another headstone out here, which of course was not our fault by any means. But I like this location. I like Salem. It's really off the main path of the game, and it's easy to miss out on. But of course you shouldn't, because there's a nice little quest here, and you get some unique weapons, and a magazine. Now the first spot we're going to is right down this road. Look how beautiful those mountains are. We can see a super mutant over there. As we get closer, we see some barricades. See a skeleton up there. Looks like there's still a couple super mutants. Alright, we got all of them dealt with. Now I guess I'll go ahead and tell you what this location is, as we haven't actually discovered it yet, but it's just a little northwest of Little Lamplight. This is Vault 87, and as we step a little closer, we start to take on a lot of radiation very quickly. So I'll step back before we get fried. Now this spot is actually really hard to discover because you have to get close to the vault door up there, and the radiation here is absolutely insane. So I tried to come prepared, put on this advanced radiation suit, and I'll go ahead and use all these Rad-X's. Now I don't have many Radaway, but I do have 134 refined Punga fruit. This is the same character I used when I did a region lock point lookout playthrough. So we'll go ahead and hotkey the Punga fruit, and those will be good to use since they take away 15 rads. Alright, let's go ahead and try it out. Not taking on too much, now we are. Now we're taking on quite a lot, and I can't use the Punga. Yep, we're dead. We'll try that again. I couldn't use the Punga fruit fast enough. Maybe we'll hotkey the Radaway as well. So as you can see, there's not really anything here. We see a radiation suit up there and we're dead. Honestly, I'd be impressed if we could just discover this location. Let's try to go around. Now, of course, Vault 87 we go to during the main story, but we never actually go to the front of the vault here. I remember trying to get there when I was a kid, and I probably had like 100 Radaways. I still died a lot. Let's think about this angle. Maybe we'll go backside. You can see the map marker there, so we're pretty close. We're just taking on so many rads. I think we need to stay back a little bit more before the approach. Eating a lot of Punga fruit. I think we're in range to discover it. Let's try it. Oh my god, we did it. Let's try it again. I think we can discover it and fast travel out of there before we die. Just gotta be quick. Alright, this is the one. We did it. We discovered Vault 87. Let's fast travel out of here. No! We were too close to dying, I guess. Well, I may have died about 15 times already, but I'm going to keep trying this until we discover the location, because I'm really interested to see what happens when you fast travel to Vault 87. Alright, we fell into this spot just above the entrance, and discovered Vault 87. So let's try to fast travel away, and we still died. Honestly, I'm thinking it might not be possible to discover Vault 87 and fast travel out before you die, so we'll just keep moving along. As I walk to the next location, I was just thinking about how Vault 87 really doesn't make much sense, because the super mutants would have to take people through the front of the vault, right? Not through Little Lamplight. So how do the people not die of radiation before they get in the front door? Just something to think about, I guess. Now our next spot is just ahead. We can see that little rocket there. We're just a little northeast of Minefield. This is an unmarked location, of course, and truthfully, it's more about the man than the place itself. I think we can see him sitting there. I'll sneak up on him. We see a couple rad roaches wandering around, and then we see the Roach King with something blowing up behind him. Don't know what that was, but here he is, and he has a minigun and a pretty nice little throne here. Pretty decent view. He's talking to himself. I almost don't want to mess with him. Now, the Roach King is, of course, a unique NPC we can find out here in the Wasteland. He's pretty much just a raider with a fancy title, but he has all these rad roaches around him, and he's kind of cool. Definitely a pretty easy enemy to miss. Sorry, man. Now that we've cleared out all the rad roaches, we can look around a little more. Like I said, he has his little throne here, a mini nuke inside of this rocket, and some dirty water. Some ammo over here set to owned. And the Roach King himself just has a minigun, kind of a cool helmet, and some empty metal boxes over here. Nothing really of note. So anyway, that's the Roach King and his throne. Why am I getting attacked by Brahmin? It's a cold world out here. Here we are at our next location, which is unmarked and just south of the Robco facility. We're at this old red rocket station, and we can head inside to Willie's Grocer. Inside we see that there are some rad roaches. After those are gone, we can look around a bit more. There's a vending machine here in the corner, some cash registers, tails of a Junktown jerky vendor laying here on the counter, some cigarettes, both packs and cartons, a safe back here, and that's really about it. Now, Willie's Grocer is really similar to the next spot we're going to go to, so we'll head there now. I actually really like this neon sign back here. I wish you could put something like this in your Megaton home. That'd be pretty cool. Here we are. We're pretty close to Tenpenny Tower still, almost right next to Warrington Station. Now, I really like the feel of this little strip mall here, even though we can only go into one building. I really like how this brick looks on the outside. It's really worn down. On the side, we can see some posters. We actually can't go in this direction anymore. I never realized that. So literally, part of this building is outside of the map. That's interesting. There's nothing around this other building here either. So we can go ahead and head inside of Lucky's. Now, Lucky's is a little bit more interesting than the last building we were in, as there is a scavenger here, and we can trade with him. This location does have a Nuka-Cola Quantum, and some other various junk items here on the shelves. It's a very similar layout to Willie's Grocer. There's another skill book here as well, but the item that's of real interest is right here on this mannequin. We can take the Lucky Shades, which are sometimes bugged and fall kind of like down here by our feet, which I've seen happen a few times, but I guess we got lucky. The Lucky Shades are pretty cool. We can put them on and get a +1 in luck. Well, anyway, leaving Lucky's, we can head to downtown DC. Here we are in Seward Square, which is just about here on the map, little ways northeast of Rivet City. Now, this area is kind of cool. I like the architecture of these buildings here, but of course, this is a named location, so it's likely you've been here before, but you may not have stepped over here. This little alleyway, there's an NPC known as the Preacher, which we can hear him right now. And he's doing a little schizo rambling. We can talk to this NPC.
Make him shut up, please. Just make him shut up.
What's that guy's problem?
He's been up there for days. He's got all of those mines wired to a trigger. He won't let anyone in or out of the alley. If I try to leave, he'll set them off. But I can't stay here any longer.
He'll listen to reason. Go talk to him.
Oh. Well, you look like someone who's pretty smart. So if you say so, I'll give it a try. Okay. Here I go.
Not one step further, not one. Come no closer. I'll do it. I'll close all the hell. All of us, me, you, and the world.
Oh no. Well, maybe not the best outcome. There's a bit of our friend there. So apparently the Preacher had some bombs set up here, and if we got close enough, he'd set them off, which he did. Which all that makes for an interesting encounter to come across. It's kind of an eerie spot right here. I don't know what it is. All these buildings, this little playground, kind of an interesting little area. I know I've said it before, but I really like these areas in downtown DC. I reloaded a save. He's actually named Wastelander, not the preacher. Let's see if we can get a little closer. Nice. I'll just snipe him this time. We'll talk to him again. Oh, now we can't. Looks like he had some frag mines down, which aren't armed. Oh, a mini nuke. Very nice. Another one too. Third one over here by these barrels. Another mine here under the slide. And look at this. Another mini nuke here. I mean, honestly, if you come here and you have a ranged weapon and can take that Wastelander out, you walk away with some pretty good loot. Alright, that's enough goofing around here. We'll stay in downtown DC for our next location. Here we are at another unmarked location. This is right next to Georgetown East, and we can head inside to the La Mason Beauregard lobby. I really like this entryway. It's just so dark. Really feels post-apocalyptic. After getting rid of a couple more super mutants, we can look around. We'll go ahead and climb up this rubble pile. We see a little bar area here with another one of those Nuka-Cola signs. There's a Nuka-Cola Quantum over here. Couple skeletons laying around, and a pool table on this side with some missiles and a mini nuke, some stim packs and a stealth boy as well. And that's pretty much it. It's just an odd little location, really tucked away in downtown DC. But man, I really like this entryway. So eerie. I wish there was just a ton of interior cells like this in Fallout 3, just spread across all of downtown DC. I'm glad we do have the few that made it into the game. Definitely fleshes out the world, I think. Now we arrive at our next spot, another unmarked location, which is just about here on the map, northwest of Georgetown North. I really like this sign outside, Radiation King, with the big crown there. It's really cool and vibrant, really stands out. I like these signs over here too. Then we see the sign above the door that says Trust the King for all your TV and radio needs, and we can go ahead and open door to Radiation King. And we see a scavenger has set up shop in here. There's some radios here on the shelf, and some TVs back here, of course. A jukebox over here, little office space. We see the Radiation King sign, and then a bathroom. And that'll be about it for here. Really nothing of note either. It's very cozy in here. The light coming in looks really nice. Continuing along, I like this little greenhouse restaurant area. Kind of like those old Wendy's. It's funny because there's tables and chairs in there, but we can't actually enter. It's so easy to get lost in Fallout 3, like actually lost, or just kind of forgetting what time it is, and then checking and realizing that hours have passed. I almost missed this grocery store, right next to the Radiation King. There's really nothing of note in here, just a bunch of junk items. Never thought I'd visit 3 grocery stores in one video, but here we are. Now we're here at our last stop in Georgetown, the McKellen family house, but the door is labeled as townhome. We see a big living room. It's very run down in here, of course. We'll head over here to the kitchen. Looks like they have a leak. Heading over to this room, we see a bunk bed with a skeleton on the top bunk. Heading upstairs, we see the bedroom, which only has a bed, a chair, and a picture frame in it. Over here in the living room, we find a copy of Line Congressional Style. Then underneath the stairs, we find a Mr. Handy. Activating this terminal, we see there's several different options here. Let's click Walk Muffy. We'll follow the Mr. Handy. He heads outside and down the street. We can find Muffy out back. He just opened that gate. Why is he attacking me? Poor Muffy. Let's see if we can get the Mr. Handy to read the children a bedtime poem. See if that calms them down. And it did. Looks like he's headed to the kids' room, and he reads them a poem. This is pretty sad. Let's go back to the terminal, get him to pick up the grocery order, and he heads back outside, and he speeds off down the street. He's going so fast. He is on a mission. Well, he almost made it to the grocery store, and then turned around. Let's head back to the townhome. This time we'll pick home security mode. Well, I waited around inside for a while, and he didn't come back. He was stuck there for a second, and he stuck again. Well, anyway, that was the townhome. I really like that location. It's kind of sad and depressing, but the Mr. Handy's cool at least. This whole Georgetown area is super easy to miss, but there's a lot of cool little areas in it to explore. Anyway, we'll head out of here and on to our next spot. And here we are. We're at a very scenic destination, which is just about here on the map, a little ways northeast of Little Lamplight. This is an abandoned shack up here on the hill. We see a lot of barrels and tires sitting here, maybe acting as kind of a barricade to not fall off the cliff, because it is quite a fall. There's a little pond down there. There's nothing around the outside of the shack, so we'll head inside. And we find a pretty lived-in area. There's a couple rad roaches over here in a cage. And using that, we can see their name Fluffy and Jitters. It's not every day you find uniquely named rad roaches. We see a fridge here, a pile of tin cans in the corner, some other miscellaneous items. Then on this opposite side, we see a couple lockers and a workbench. And would you look at that? A Keller family transcript. We'll go ahead and take that. I think it might come in handy later. In the footlocker under the bed, there's a full set of metal armor. There's a pre-war book here, and 14 bobby pins. That's kind of wild. I feel like bobby pins are kind of rare in Fallout 3. There's also this copy of Guns and Bullets. There's a hardlock safe here, but there's nothing too exciting inside. But the most interesting thing here is this very hard locked locker, which our lockpick isn't high enough, of course. Inside the locker is the Victory rifle, which is a unique sniper rifle. Looks like we'll have to come back for this one. Now we can head back outside. Now, of course, before we head to our next spot, we need to see if we can jump into that pond from here, which I'm thinking we probably can't, but we'll at least give it a shot. Yeah, I don't think we're going to make it. Anyway, continuing along, here we are in Shale Bridge, which looking around, there doesn't really look to be anything here, but if we look a little closer, we see all this brain fungus around this hill, and at the very top, we see an ant tunnel. So we'll head inside and down the tunnel, and we see some more hostile ants. And at the end of the tunnel here, we see the Ant Queen, which these enemies are so cool. There's only a couple of them in Fallout 3, and they carry Ant Queen pheromones, which is decently valuable. There's a ton of eggs in this room, unsurprisingly. A couple skeletons as well. But we'll go ahead and head back outside of this tunnel. Back outside, we can head to the opposite side of Shale Bridge, and we see another tunnel. We'll head into this one. This cave is a lot more wide open and has some light coming in, and we see the ants here are pretty chill. They're a lot smaller and not attacking us. They're called mutated forger ants. Then we get to this room, which looks really cool. Of course, there's still a ton of ants around, but we do see this body in the water, and he's labeled as an ant researcher, and he has a big book of science on him. Then we see these eggs over here, and we can activate the large ant egg pile, and we have the option to inject it with a stim pack. We'll go ahead and do that, and that will stimulate the future growth of this colony. Then on the opposite side of this room, we have an ant compost heap, which we can open up with a 20 science skill and find some ant nectar. We'll take that. So essentially what's going on in this area is there's two dueling ant colonies, where there's these much smaller ants that are really chill, versus those other much larger ants that are a lot more hostile. And since we took out that other colony and injected those eggs with a stim pack, it'll give this ant colony a fighting chance. It's a really cool unmarked quest, and it's definitely different to help out creatures instead of the Wastelanders we run into. But I really like this area. I think it's pretty easy to discover the location, but the ant tunnels are a little bit more hidden away. We'll go ahead and head out of this tunnel. Our next spot is right here. It's called the Warren, and it's located about here on the map. It's just southeast of Reclining Groves Resort Homes. As we can see here, it looks to be an old bunker of some sort, with the boards all across it, but a hole ripped in the bottom here. Let's head inside. Looks to be another cave, and we get attacked by a dog. I'll be honest with you, this is definitely the first time I've been here. I've played Fallout 3 for so many hours, but this is a new one for me. This location was suggested to me in a comment, so I thank you for recommending this spot. We can walk deeper into the cave. We find a couple bodies here at the end, with some rib cages and skulls as well. This mercenary has a laser rifle on him, and there's a Wastelander here with 5 whole bottle caps. And that's it for the Warren, a really well hidden location that I'd bet a majority of players have never been to or heard of. I like how this door doesn't really make sense. As we can see from the inside here, the hole is on the right side, and if we go outside, the hole is also on the right side. Honestly, the most unique thing about this location is the door itself. The fact that we're given the option to open wood planks, and the way this hole is put here, I don't know, it's kind of cool. But that's enough on the Warren. We can go ahead and head to our final location, which to get to our final location, we need to go find some holotapes. And we're off to a good start. I just happened along that first one, so I'll go track these down real quick. I always like stumbling across this scavenger who has a pet Yaguai. I wish we could have one. These tapes are hidden so well. Both of these first two I found have been at unmarked locations. This first one is just southwest of Arafu. Then the next tape is located right here in Hollowed Moors Cemetery. Man, look at this skeleton up here. That would have been a lot of work to put him up there. The second and last one we need is here on this desk, on the backside of Grizzly Diner. The last tape is here in this tent, just north of the Anchorage Memorial. Now that we have them all, let's head to downtown DC. We finally arrive at the National Guard Depot, which is right here on the map. It's a ways east of Megaton. Now, of course, the National Guard Depot is a marked location, and you've likely been here before, but there is a hidden away section that we are going to go visit. After working through the offices, we hit that switch upstairs and open this door. Heading down these stairs, we're greeted by another large door, which will open up to see a lot of really great loot here, and a bobblehead. There's a ton of missiles over here, and some more ammo and guns. But the most interesting thing here is this terminal. Because we're not able to open this door normally, we could open this up and enter the access codes, which we got from the Keller family holotapes. Now we can enter their bunker. We see some shelves here with a bunch of random items, but turning the corner, we see a glowing one. Taking him out, we could take a better look around. Like I said, not really anything major here on the shelves. There's some ammo, some pre-war money, cigarettes of course. There's a safe over here, but nothing crazy inside. Walking down the hall, we see some more shelves, and what really catches our attention is the experimental MIRV launcher sitting here on the table next to a stack of 5 mini nukes. We'll take all of that. There's a quantum under the table. Searching around a little more, we see some bunk beds, a table, and some more bunk beds over here with 3 skeletons laying around them. And there's some pretty interesting lore here. I'll give you a really brief summary real quick. Essentially, the story here goes as follows. A National Guardsman stole some codes to this secure bunker and sent them out to 4 of his family members to try to get them to come down here and survive. But he got arrested, and one of his family members just refused to come down here. 3 of his family members did make it inside. Those are the skeletons we find back there on the bunk beds. And Alex Keller, the National Guardman who stole the codes originally, turned into a glowing one, and eventually took the lives of his family members, which all this makes for a very sad tale, but definitely an interesting location. The fact that you have to find the 5 Keller family holotapes to get here makes it super easy to miss. I'd say maybe one of the easiest places to miss in the game. But anyway, we picked up a new weapon, so I'm thinking we go try it out. Here we go. This brings back a lot of memories for me. We only have 3 more. We'll try it again. Oh, we can't. You can only shoot 8 at a time. Let's see what happens if we shoot them straight up into the air. Anyway, let's go ahead and head to the end of the dam here. I've already cleared everyone out, and as we get close to the Legates camp, we'd usually cross over that bridge right there, but instead we'll turn left and walk over this direction, and we see this giant basin, which we can hop down into and wander around a little bit. Over this way we can go to the lake, but over this way we can jump down into the basin itself. There's a ladder over here, which we can actually use. Oh, interesting. How'd you climb that ladder there? Definitely haven't been over here before. Looks like we can't go any further this way, so I guess we'll go back down the ladder, back in this basin. Of course, I'm sure this area is intended to have water run through it, but of course it is totally empty when we visit it. There's this little panel here. I thought it was going to be some sort of hatch, but it's not. But what I really like about this is this tunnel that really drops off. It's kind of liminal, kind of eerie. We can't go in there. I don't know, it's just kind of an odd place here. Feels like we're not supposed to be here. Probably because we're supposed to be fighting in the second battle of Hoover Dam. I really admire how dedicated this Securitron is to following me. We'll walk out of here, and that's pretty much it for this location. It's a place I'm sure you've walked by plenty of times, but never actually came over here to check it out. Not like there's much to see, but still. Well anyway, let me reload a save, and we'll continue along to our next spot. Hey, aren't you supposed to be on that cross? You can just leave now if you want, really. We're now here on the Colorado River for our next 3 locations. The first spot we're going to, we can see right there. There's a couple lake lurks we can try to take out real quick. Alright, now that they're all dealt with, we can look around a little. This spot is Blue Paradise Vacation Rentals, just southeast of Cottonwood Cove. And this area is just really off the main trail. It's just very barren over here. In my head, Cottonwood Cove is like the most southern point of the map, but in actuality, it is this location. Just look how barren it is here. Feels so empty in this direction. There's a building here that's boarded up. We'll continue on to this side, and we see a couple graves. Then we have some partially submerged buildings over here next to the water. Some picnic tables and umbrellas over here. I really like the vibe of this part of the map. It's really quiet. This first building here is boarded up, but we can go inside this middle one to the sunken beach house. Inside we actually start to take on radiation. Feel like I'm playing Fallout 3. There's a bedroom over here, a little kitchen area, and then a bathroom. There's a star bottle cap here next to the fridge. These buildings really remind me of the Point Lookout houses we find in Fallout 3. Anyway, we'll head back outside and down to the next one, which is a little bit more submerged. This one really doesn't have anything in it either, besides some junk items. Heading back outside, we can swim down and see this submerged dock and a boat here as well. And that's really about it for Blue Paradise Vacation Rentals. It's a very insignificant location in a corner of the map that's really quiet. Anyway, let's continue along. And this is our next location, which can be found here on the map, almost directly east of Blue Paradise Vacation Rentals. Once we get past those lake lurks, we can walk over here and we see a boat with nothing inside. But there is this cave over here with a couple skeletons inside and a mercenary who has some standard loot. There's also a couple duffel bags here. This one on the left has some ammo and some junk items. The lever action shotgun is a decent find. Then there's this one on the right, which has a full suit of reinforced combat armor, which is a really good find. This little cove is really tucked away, definitely easy to miss, but luckily it's kind of worth it for the loot, I'd say, especially if you're at a lower level. But truthfully, getting through those lake lurks would be pretty tough, and there is about 10 of them over here. I'm going to buy some mini nukes for the next spot we're going to. Back on the Colorado, we'll head up this coast. Looks like we made it. It's nice and peaceful for now, but won't be here in a second. This location is found right here on the map, a ways southeast of Novak. Now, I'd say this area is more of an honorable mention, as I feel like a lot of people are familiar with it, but I think it's worth swinging by. As you can see, there are many Deathclaws here, so I'll attempt to clear them out real quick, and then we'll take a look around. The Deathclaws of this game are so smart. They know when they can't get to you. Well, that was expected. Honestly, I had to go swap characters and come back. I was dying to these Deathclaws a little too easy. We'll see if we fare better this time. Look at them all. Beautiful. Veronica isn't having a good time. There's just so many here. I mean, look at this. I guess this fat man kind of evens the odds. They got me again. I think I need to be more efficient with my mini nukes. Try to bunch these guys up a little bit. Oh no. There we go. Alright. Never mind. I think I did it. Look at this. I honestly forgot how tough this area was. I also forgot how valuable Deathclaw eggs were. That's probably why the Deathclaw omelet is also very valuable. Well, anyway, now that the Deathclaws are gone, we'll look around a bit. We find a couple corpses over here. One has a full suit of T-51B power armor, and the other one here has a suit of Remnant's power armor, which is some of the best armor in the game, so of course we're going to take that. I like how this hill looks over here. Like I said, this area is more of an honorable mention, but if you've never been here and you want a good challenge, by all means, give it a shot. I think finding the Remnant's power armor is worth it if you have the gear to fight all these Deathclaws. But anyway, I won't linger here too long. Let's head to our next spot. Alright, here we are at our next location, which just looks to be a little ravine here. But this is Prim Pass, which is right here on the map, directly east of the emergency service rail yard. And walking through here, we see a dead Bright follower with a plasma defender. Continuing along, we see nothing else. There's the back of Repcon right there. Oh, there actually is a hollowed out rock here, but there's nothing in it. This location to me is really similar to the emergency service rail yard, where it's in a spot of the map you usually go around, but I guess this does kind of act as a shortcut if you're trying to get over to Novak. I do like that there's locations we can discover up here in the mountains. It's not a completely empty area, but definitely a lot more quiet than the rest of the map. Now you do have to be careful coming out this way, as Deadwind Cavern is right over there, and there's like 4 Deathclaws in front of it, but I guess if you take a left out of here it's not too bad. I gave Veronica that suit of Remnant's power armor. I think it looks pretty good. I was trying to get to the back of Repcon right there, but there's so many invisible walls, I don't think we'll be able to at this angle. We'll go ahead and head out of Prim Pass. From one marked location to another, we're now at the Nopa Cave, located right here on the map, southeast of Red Rock Canyon. Now this spot isn't off the main path quite as much, but it's still tucked away in this corner, and would be pretty easy to walk past. So we'll go ahead and enter, and I really like the feel to some of these caves in New Vegas. They feel a lot more smooth. These mushrooms are cool. We'll turn right into here, and we see a fire gecko, or 3. Then in this room we see this really cool wall over here. I'm not quite sure which minerals that's supposed to be, but it does look pretty interesting. Heading back to the other side of the cave, we see more fire geckos. Now that they're all gone, we'll look around in this room. There's a skeleton over here. Honestly, this thing is kind of freaky. I feel like this is such a rare thing to see in New Vegas. It's oddly detailed, but by far the most interesting thing in this cave is this dead super mutant, who's carrying some C4, which is super valuable, and a fat man. We'll go ahead and take everything, and honestly, the fight to loot ratio is really good for this cave. Finding a fat man and some C4 after getting through those geckos, totally worth it. But that's it for here. We'll head back outside. I'm back here in Boulder City to take a look around at some other buildings that you may not have been to. Of course, Boulder City is located here on the map, a little ways southeast of 188 Trading Post. I really like this train here. Looks to be in pretty good shape. Of course, we can't go inside of it or anything, but it's a nice set piece. Then there's this little rail station here, which we'll head inside. After getting rid of a scorpion, we can look around a little more. Couple vending machines over here, and a hard lock safe, which I don't have the skill to pick lock. I'll have to come back here at some point. I don't think there's anything unique in there, just based on memory, but I could be wrong. Anyway, we'll head back outside. Now, I believe I've mentioned it before, but if you're playing through the main story in kind of a regular way, you'll come here to Boulder City, but we'll most likely only go to the main area where the Great Khans are. But this location is somewhat of a sprawling spot. Next to that rail station, we can walk up here and find a duffel bag with plenty of money inside. I feel like it's kind of rare to find trail mix, so that's cool to see. There's another building we can go inside over here. There's a holotape here, or actually a hollow disc, which is a journal from the first Battle of Hoover Dam. It's a really cool piece for world building. There's a service rifle here as well, and a bunch of skeletons. Now we'll head inside Boulder City. There's this building we can access, right next to the Great Khan hideout. Looks like they have some NCR hostages, which I'd help them out, but I don't really like taxes, so I'll head upstairs. There's nothing else up here besides this Great Khan. Honestly, I haven't actually been inside of this interior cell in Boulder City in so long. I always just go straight to the strip when I'm playing. There's a couple buildings over here we can go inside. This one has some mattresses, a bathroom with a lot of jet in the toilet. Then this building next to it also has some mattresses, a gun and some buff out in the bathtub. Then upstairs, there's some ammo in this corner. And that'll be everything for Boulder City. We'll continue along. The next spot we're going to is this little shack right here, which is just about here on the map. It's just a bit west of North Vegas Square. This is the Wins hideout. Heading inside, we see Sammy Wins and Pauline Wins, dressed up pretty nice. Sammy Wins is like kind of tall, right? Now through dialogue, we can learn that these two are planning to rob casinos on the strip and have already robbed the casino in Prim. We can pass a speech check to make them realize that there's flaws in their plan and that they probably won't survive robbing any of the casinos on the strip. Somehow they both just passed away, and Pauline here has Vicky's bonnet, which is a unique hat, and then Sammy has Vance's lucky hat, which is also unique. Vance's submachine gun is in this safe here, which is behind a very hard lock, and we don't have the lockpick skill for it, sadly. This is a really cool unmarked location, with some good loot as well, if you have enough in lockpick. Now let's head to the strip. There's a couple locations I'd like to visit here. The first is in Gomorrah. Heading towards the back, we can go out to the courtyard, and we find the pool area, which is really chill. They have a lot of booths back here for various purposes. Now there is a quest that leads you back here, so it's not the easiest place on the map to miss, but it's hidden behind a few loading screens. I like this fire over here. All the plants back here are also nice. I like how some of these are closed, as if there's people in them. Then some have these round beds, and others just pillows. This corner is kind of liminal. Wonder what these guys are talking about over here. Only good things, I'd imagine. There's a second floor here as well. We can also enter Joanna's room, and she has quite the layout. Joanna is one of the characters in the quest that I mentioned that involves you coming back here to the pool area. There's plenty more of these tents back here. She's just dancing in the corner by herself. What a life she's living. The quest I keep mentioning is called Bye Bye Love, and it's a pretty cool one. Definitely recommend going to complete it. It's one of those quests you discover by poking around a lot. Plus the lore here in Gomorrah is really interesting. I definitely recommend going around and talking to all the named characters here. We'll go ahead and head back to the strip. Now we're in the tops, and we'll head through the restaurant. I love how lined up all these glasses and bottles are. Then we can head over here to the courtyard, and we arrive at the Tops pool area, which is our final location. It's a real cool vibe back here. I like the palm trees and all the plants as well. This pool area does have a diving board. Plenty of chairs to sit and soak up the sun, but we can only sit down like this. I mean, there's really nice landscaping back here, I gotta admit. They even got some real trees. This area, I'd say, is a lot easier to miss than the Gomorrah pool area, as no quests bring you back here that I know of. I wonder what it looks like here at night. Very cool. They have some string lights on the trees over there. I wonder what's on the other side of this wall. Oh wow, there's absolutely nothing. There's actually a couple different colors of these lights. I couldn't really tell from a distance. I like that detail. Well anyway, now let's go ahead and head to our first location, which is just over here in the northeastern corner of Nuka World. We're here in the town of Bradburton at this specific house, which is right about here on the map, just southwest of Bradburton. Now this place looks like the standard rundown Fallout 4 house, but once we head inside, there's a couple seats over here, a skeleton, Jangles the Moon Monkey, but turning around, we see the most interesting thing here, which is this little altar. There's one of these sun clocks pointing down with a lot of candles on this table and a burnt book. But what's really cool is if we take this Chinese officer sword, stim packs appear, and there's this flame that sparks and keeps burning, so we'll take those. Now to me this looks like a little ritual site of some sort, but it's pretty much a direct reference to Dark Souls, and it makes for a cool little Easter egg here. This corner of the Nuka World map is kind of barren, but this house isn't the only interesting location around, as we can face south and walk to this little shed right here, which is also just south of Bradburton, and we'll head inside, and we see a cat, and turning the corner, we see another cat, and a little stall over here. Then on this side there's a cage with some moldy food, a picture of a cat, and some yarn. But what's really funny about this spot is we can go to the cat bowl over here, and it's set to owned, and this cat bowl over on the other side is also set to owned. And I'll go ahead and be a terrible person and steal this. And we've been caught stealing. And the cat took the bowl back from us, which is kind of insane. I had to reload a save to get that to work. I'm not sure why it didn't the first time I tried, but I think this spot's kind of interesting. Anyway, we'll leave these guys alone and head to our last Nuka World location before we head back to the Commonwealth. Now we're at this little unmarked town, which is almost directly on the Commonwealth map marker, which of course is how we fast travel back to the Commonwealth. And when I was doing the Nuka World Region Lock Millionaire Run, I realized that I had never been here before. I'm surprised there's not a map marker for this location, as there's a decent amount of buildings here, so we'll go look around. There's some stairs right here. Looks like someone was camping out. There's a cooking station and a chemistry station down here on the bottom floor. Then there's this alleyway with a bunch of flying ants. There's a couple skeletons back here and 3 dead settlers, but I think this alleyway acts as a random encounter point, as when I was doing that millionaire playthrough, I did come through here once before dying, and there were some alive settlers, and if I remember right, they were named. But either way, this time we don't find anyone alive. we'll keep looking around. There's a building we can enter over here. We can go upstairs. We'll test our luck, of course. Looks like there's a skeleton and a wheelchair on top of the building. I don't think we can get up there though. Then through this alley, there's a little archway here and a playground. I like the UFO here. Most of these buildings are boarded up, which is too bad. But this one has a ladder we can climb up. And at the top there's a safe with some decent loot. Then over on this eastern side, there's a little pond. We can see a ghoul right there in that pipe. There's a drainage tunnel here as well, but that safe just caught my eye. Some decent loot in here as well. There's the skeleton of a fisherman here with a fish next to him. But that'll be about it for this unmarked town. We'll go ahead and head to the Commonwealth now. These next two spots we're visiting are more of honorable mentions, I'd say, as you'd find both of them really early in Fallout 4. We're here in Sanctuary, of course, and we can head behind this blue house, which is just about here on the map. And there's a root cellar out back, so we'll head inside. And we find a little bomb shelter, which has some decent items for the early game. Find a first aid box over here, some pre-war money, plenty of junk items. There's some gold bars over here, and a safe with some ammo and a 10mm pistol, and some more pre-war money. This is a good spot to come by if you're playing survival as well. There's some food and some purified waters. I won't spend too long here. We'll head back out. Then we'll head down the road and cross this bridge and get to Red Rocket. We'll pass through the Red Rocket station and head out back, and we find this cave, which is just south of the Red Rocket station. We'll head inside, and we see some mole rats. Now that they're taken care of, we'll look around. There's plenty of brain fungus in this cave, and a lot of junk items here in the middle. Then on this western side, we can keep going down the tunnel to find a safe with nothing special inside, but we are in an early game area. Then back in this main room, we'll walk to the opposite side to find a fusion core. We also find this note here for a Mr. Benson, which I feel like I've never seen this before, or maybe I wasn't looking around well enough. But either way, this is a cool spot for the early game to find, but I'd imagine most players have been here, so we'll continue along. We're now just north of downtown Boston for the next several spots, and a little northwest of the USS Constitution, we see this bright red door, and we see it's called Drug Den. Once inside, we see an empty room, but turning to the left, some raiders attack us, and we'll head upstairs, take out another raider. We'll head up another flight of stairs to see a steamer trunk, a mattress, and a chem box. We'll head out to the balcony here. Out on the balcony, we see a couple couches and a sleeping bag, but that'll be it for this spot. It's a very insignificant, unmarked location. Then just down the road from the drug den, we have Charlestown Laundry, which is almost directly in between the USS Constitution and Bunker Hill. It's a nice corner shop, so we'll go ahead and head inside. We see all the washer and dryers here, and there's this really cool wallpaper. There's some bobby pins and some caps in these washers and dryers. Plenty of Abraxo cleaner over here, which makes sense. Then there's the employee only area, which has a Nuka-Cola Quantum. There's radiation barrels back here, for some reason. A bunch of soap as well. Then a safe over here in the corner. I'm honestly just going to stop saying what I find in the safes in Fallout 4. It's never anything interesting. But something that is interesting is in this shopping basket, we find a magazine, which unlocks a new hairstyle for us. The Hornet's Nest. I really like the idea of adding cosmetic stuff, like haircuts, and the magazines we can find. But that'll be it for here. We'll head downtown, arriving at 35 Court in downtown Boston, about right here on the map, next to Custom House Tower. We see a bunch of destroyed robots and some dead raiders. We'll have to see what's going on inside. We see some more dead raiders and some more destroyed robots. After getting rid of a couple turrets, we'll explore this ground floor. There's a door over here with a safe, which I'm not even going to open. Then we can head upstairs, which doesn't lead anywhere. I know I've said it before in other videos, but downtown Boston is full of locations like this. Add some really nice exploration to Fallout 4. We'll take this elevator over here and head up. Exiting onto this floor, I hear something. Why is there a Brahmin in here? And why is it shaking? I feel like one weird glitch like this makes it into every one of my videos. Gotta love it. Anyway, at the end of this hall, looks like we can go right, but there's a door here as well, which leads to a little computer room. Turning back around, we'll head down this hall, up the ramp, alarms start to go off, and a sentry bot comes out, and an assaultron. We took care of them. There's that Brahmin again. Well, 2 doors opened up when these robots came out, so we'll hit these buttons in both of them, and that opens up this door to some power armor, which I believe this is leveled, so if you're at a high enough level, this could be XO1 power armor. I guess we'll take it, mainly because I want to see if I can make it to that building. Oh cool, looks like there's a ramp that goes over there as well. I fell off. Glad I saved. I think we can make this jump. Just barely. There's a ramp this way and one this way, but there doesn't look to be anything up here. Pretty destroyed. Looks like we can walk across here as well. We'll follow this along. We see this big billboard over here. That's kind of cool. We'll walk around this ledge, which leads us to the sky bridge. We'll turn back around. The, I guess, verticality of downtown Boston does add a cool layer to exploration. It's kind of like the opposite of going into the metros in Fallout 3. You're probably less likely to get lost though. We've made it around to this side. We'll look in here. Looks like there's a dead raider with some chems. Then we'll continue along to this ramp. I wasn't really planning to come here. Truthfully, I didn't even know these platforms existed. Looks like we can walk in here. More raiders. They had a little hideout here. Duffel bag over here. And a chem box. Back on this balcony. There's actually an elevator over here, which will end our time in this area. We'll continue to the next one. Just down the street at 35 Court, we have Hub 360, which is just about here on the map, a little southeast of the Fallen Sky Bridge. Inside, we can see this is a super mutant location by the gore bags up there. This ground floor is pretty empty. There's just this kitchen area over here. Walked right over a bottle cap mine, but we'll take those. Now we can head upstairs, which is also empty. So we'll take this elevator. Now we enter another big room. We'll head to this side first. Looks to be a nice and clean, sanitized kitchen over here. We'll head up this ramp. From here, there's 2 doors and an elevator we can take. I'll start with the door down here that goes to the cafe patio. Out here, there's another super mutant. 2 of them actually. The only thing up here is a nice view. So we'll head back inside. Next, we'll head to the rooftop pool. After taking out another super mutant, we see the pool area. Then over on this western side, there's a staircase, which goes down to the sky bridge again. Going back inside, we'll get in the elevator. At the top of Hub 360, we see a trunk over here, and another really great view of downtown Boston. The stars in this game look really great. We'll stay downtown, and head to the next place. Arriving at Madden's boxing gym, right next to the Old North Church. This is also a nice corner building, and the sign up there is cool as well. This boxing gym still has the lights on, which makes it easy to look around. Over on this side, there's a little office. They have some nice branding in this boxing ring. We find a boxing glove right here as well. Then over on this side, it looks to be a little gym area with a lot of weights, which these are really great for lead. Like this 80-pound curl bar gives you 20 lead. So if you're short on that resource for your settlement, this is the place to go. There's some buff out here on the bench as well. In this corner, we see a toy alien lifting up a 160-pound dumbbell with some buff out next to it. We'll head back into downtown Boston. We needed this rain. On this rooftop, just northeast of the Cabot House, we can enter this unmarked apartment, which to get up here, there's some stairs you can take just east of here. Now online, this place is called the Hoarder's Apartment, probably because of all these boxes and junk items everywhere. But we can look around. There's a little kitchen area over here. Some paintings over on this wall. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cat bowls, but sadly no cats. We can see whoever lived here was a bowler. There's a holotape over here, which just had some random Bostonian ramblings on it. This is another spot I know I've never been to. It's definitely hard to discover every location, marked or unmarked, in any of the Fallout games that I play, and that's how they keep pulling me back in. Heading to our last spot in the Commonwealth, we get to this building here, which is just southeast of Mass Gravel and Sand. This spot is known as the Plumber's Secret. Inside of this warehouse, we'll explore this bottom floor. On this side, there's some bathtubs, plenty of toilets, some more of the same on these shelves. Then upstairs, we find a line of plungers, which that bottle cap mine just knocked them all down. Walking over to this side, there's nothing of note, so we'll hop back down and go into this more retail section. There's a mannequin here holding a plunger. Then the checkout area over here. There's a safe in this corner. There's some stairs over here as well. Nothing in any of these containers, so we'll walk across again. There's some pipes and a first aid box. That'll be it for the plumber's secret. Now we'll head to Far Harbor. Alright, now that we're in Far Harbor, we'll head to the Vim factory. We have now arrived. The Vim factory is located right here, a little southwest of the Southwest Harbor. Of course, this is a marked location, but there's a couple hidden areas inside this building, and we'll go check out one of those. Once we get into the actual factory area, we can head down this ramp, turn the corner, and turn the corner again to see this flooded part of the factory. But what's really of interest is this door right here, with some flashing lights around it, and a terminal on this left side. As we get closer, we do hear something on the other side of that door. Sounds like something big is marching around. So we'll go ahead and unlock this. We'll go ahead and open the door, and we see Grun, a named Super Mutant Behemoth. And he's walking right towards us. I'll take him out real quick. Oh, he's stuck. Poor guy. There we go. Now that he's gone, we'll look around in his room. There's some crates over here, and a trunk on this side. Nothing major. I feel like this spot's kinda easy to miss, especially if you're just focused on the story mission that brings you here. But anyway, we'll continue along now. We're now here at Echo Lake Lumber, which is right here on the map. It's almost directly west of Acadia. Now if we hop down and walk across these logs, we see what looks to be a whale skeleton, which is pretty cool. Kinda stumbled across this by accident while looking for our next spot. Well, would you look at that? I walked right past it. There's a bunker here, directly east of Echo Lake Lumber. This is really tucked away. Even from this distance, it's really hard to see. But we'll go check it out. Once inside, we'll walk down this tunnel and see a little shelter. Looks like they have a nice TV here, some beds, looks like a generator, and some daddy-o, a safe as well, some fertilizer here, and a chemistry station. There's also one of these showers here, which are like the ones you'd see in middle school or high school science class. I'm sure they were only up to cool things down here. There is a skeleton and a bloodstain on the wall. We could probably come up with some lore for this place, but I'm not sure if there is actually any. But that's it for this little bunker. Probably one of the most hidden away places in Far Harbor, I'd say. And then for our final, and my most favorite location in this video, I believe we need to help out the Mariner here, and then get a quest from her, which will lead us to our final spot. So I'll do that real quick. There we go. We got the quest. So we'll go take our boat to the final location of this video. On our boat, we now have the option to travel to Red Death Island. Now we're here on Red Death Island, which is an easy spot to miss, especially since you have to get through a whole quest line to unlock this area. But we'll go ahead and step down here and talk to the Mariner. She also gives us the Legend of the Harbor outfit, which reduces damage from mirelurks and bugs by 15%. It's also pretty valuable. Then that'll leave us with the Red Death itself, which is the creature the Mariner has been after. It ends up being a little mirelurk with glowing red eyes. I don't even want to mess with him. He's so tiny. The area itself is pretty small as well. This is the Mariner ship over here, but there is this other one behind her, which has an explosives box and some ammo, but nothing else major. Getting back on this little island, we can walk around to the backside. There's another small ship here with a body inside. Continuing along, this looks to be a much older ship back here, but there's nothing on it. On the opposite side of the island, there's a boat that looks to be ripped in half. I just realized the Red Death Island is actually part of the Far Harbor map, way out here by itself. It's off the west coast, southwest of Haddock Cove. I'm honestly not sure if you can come here without the quest, or if it like spawns in after. There doesn't look to be anything up here on the rocks. So I think that'll be about everything for Red Death Island. One of my favorite locations in Far Harbor, or in Fallout 4. I remember accidentally missing this place, and then finding out about it sometime later, and then having to come back and find it for myself. Now let's head to our first location. We're going to kick it off here in Far Harbor for the first 3 spots. We're now here at this unmarked store, which is just southeast of the Radiant Crest Shrine. and the open sign is on, so we'll head inside. There's a bunch of miscellaneous items here. Then heading into the office, there's nothing of note, but what's really interesting about this spot is if we head around back and turn here, we see this cellar labeled as Basement Armory. So we'll unlock this. Once inside, we'll head down these stairs and see the armory. The first thing that really catches my eye are these bottles of Vim Captain's Blend. There's one over here, and then one over here on top of this chemistry station. Looks to be a barrel of Vim as well. Continuing to look around, there's a weapons workbench over on this wall, then a bunch of weapons on this table, a missile launcher, a submachine gun, and some missiles. Looks to be a shooting range right next to it. There's a bunch of crates with Vim written on the side of it, a couple more barrels as well. Then finally we have Copeland's terminal, which has 6 different entries on it. So what exactly was going on here? This armory acted as the base of operations for Aubrey Copeland, who was employed by Nuka-Cola to sabotage Vim. Not only was she planning on shooting a missile at the Vim factory, but she was also working on finding the secret formula for Vim Captain's Blend, which is why we find 2 bottles of them here. These are some real Plankton kind of moves, and this is definitely an easy spot to miss. There's a cool background story for this spot, and it gives us more information around the pre-war soda wars, which of course is something everyone was asking for. Oh nice, this ammo box has 4 fusion cores inside of it. Lucky find. We'll head out to our next spot. Now we're here at this unmarked shed, which is about right here on the map, just west of Cranberry Island Bog. Now inside of here just has some junk items laying around. There's actually some tar berries here on the table, if you're into that. But if we head out back, walk around, then jump down these rocks, we see this green shipping container, and getting closer, we see there's a door here, which is sealed shut. Then we see on this left side, there's a wire coming out and going up, then back up top, the wire comes off the building and over to this power line. So let's follow it, see if there's any switches to flip. It turns here and goes down a path, and after a little bit of walking, it looks like we find the end of it. And there's a switch over here, right below that red light. So we'll open this up and activate it. But the breaker is not functional. Then over on the opposite side, we have the option to repair this pipe, which we can repair it with 5 steel, or bend the pipe back into place with 7 strength. We'll do that. And it's fixed. Going back over to the switch, we'll activate the circuit breaker. And this generator powers on. We'll follow this power line back, see if we can find another one. We'll pass by the shed and keep moving along. We get to a couple more buildings here, and the power line continues east. Then we see another red light, so we'll go turn this one on too. He's waving at me. I don't really like that. Let's see if we can repair this circuit board. And we have a couple different options again. We can repair the circuit with 4 circuitry. We can reroute the circuit by shorting out the ... or we can jam something metal into it. Well, we gotta see what that does. Nothing happened. Let's try to reroute the circuit, and it says we're not perceptive enough to spot the problem. That's why it shows the ... Let's try to repair the circuit, and we don't have enough circuitry, but we do have a level up saved, so we'll level up perception and reroute the circuit. And we spotted the problem and fixed the issue. Now we'll head over here and flip the switch. There's another generator turned on. I totally walked past this one, but there's one attached to this little water tower that goes down here. We'll try to flip this one, and it says it's not functional. We'll try to repair these wires. We get 3 more options. We can repair the wires with 6 copper, rewire it with 5 intelligence, or kick it. Let's try that. It does nothing. We'll go ahead and rewire it, and it was a success. Now we can flip this, then head back here to the door and see if it opens. It does, and there's a bunch of ghouls waiting for us. They're also named. Now we'll head inside this bunker. There's some medkits on the wall, some hazmat suits, damaged ones to be specific. Then we can read Eliza family drawing, which is kind of freaky. I don't know. The face scratched out's kind of odd, but we'll take it. Then in this footlocker, we can find the Cranberry Island shed key, Cranberry Island supplies note, and some ammo, the Cranberry Island supplies list, says Nathan. Remember to move all the supplies from the shed on the east dock to the storage room here in the bunker. Aside from the generators being in full working order, those supplies are our most important asset. And don't make your brother do it. This is your job. On the back, it's signed Dad. P.S. The key is in the footlocker near the bunker entrance. Then turning around, there's some lockers with some miscellaneous loot inside. So what's this about a supply shed? Let's go find it. After clearing out some mirelurks, we arrive at the supply shed, which is actually a marked location. We'll unlock this and head inside. Around this corner, there's a ton of great supplies. If you're starting out a settlement here in Far Harbor, this is a good place to go first. We've got a ton of cement, oil, springs, screws, a bunch of aluminum, some steel, some more screws, just all kinds of great stuff. Then there's a steamer trunk here with some standard loot inside. I really like this little unmarked mission. I'm always a fan of any quest that makes you pass a skill check, so that was cool to see. I feel like that's kind of rare in Fallout 4. And then at the end of it, we do get a really great reward. There sure are a lot of bunkers here in Far Harbor. Anyway, now we're here at the next location, which is just about here on the map, just northwest of the MS Azalea. It's just a little beach area. We can see all these destroyed umbrellas and beach chairs. There's a bunch of grills and picnic tables back here. Someone was cooking up a cigar and a fish. I don't know, man. This place is kind of chill until that mirelurk hops out of the ground. There is a little shed over here. It's actually a bathroom. Couple stem packs in the sink. This is not a bathroom. This is just where you shower off after going to the beach. I described one building wrong 2 times. I like how this little sand hill looks right here. These skeletons are like sinking into this wall of sand. There's another one over here. Down the beach a ways, there's another building. Tough day on the job, I see. What happened to this guy? The birds have been busy here. Inside this shack, there's a cash register and a big stack of frag mines for some reason. A bunch of boats over here as well. I don't know, this place is like really insignificant, but I like it. It's just kind of relaxing. I really like how the lighting looks right now. Well, anyway, let's head to Nuka World. We're now here just west of Nuka World, outside of the park. We're right here next to this destroyed billboard, and if we walk around to the back side of it and up this little hill, we see Cappy and Bottle. But as we get closer, there looks to be a little shrine underneath of them with some severed heads, 5 of them to be exact, and a few skulls as well. There's a safe over here, and you guessed it, there's nothing unique in here. We'll take it all anyway. Now a little foreshadowing for you. There is a safe we're going to check out later on that does have unique items in it. Anyway, this Cappy and Bottle Shrine is located just about here, just west of Safari Adventure Reptile House. There's not too much else here. It's just an odd, easily missable spot. Another strange location is this TV tree, which is located right here, just west of the Angry Anaconda. There's a bunch of TVs hung from the tree, some terminals and TVs down here. There's a Nuka-Cola Quartz in this terminal, and a Quantum in this one. But yeah, that's it. That's the TV tree. Let's head back to the Commonwealth. We're now here in Jamaica Plain, which is right here on the map. It is a marked location. And I'll go ahead and say, this is more of an honorable mention for this video, but I still wanted to swing by here. Now, of course, after clearing out a lot of ghouls, you can turn this into a settlement, which this isn't really relevant at all. But Jamaica Plain is probably my least built at settlement. I don't know why. Just never really came around to this part of the map too much. But anyway, the outside area here is not what we're going to look around in. Instead, if we head inside this building, which is specifically on the western side of Jamaica Plain, we'll head inside, then we'll walk around this blue door and down these stairs, and we'll pick the lock to Jamaica Plain Town Hall basement. Once inside, we'll walk down some more stairs and pass through this lobby area, and there's an office over on this eastern side. But going back out into the lobby, we'll open this door up. I like this little plaque right here. That's kind of cool. Anyway, we can either turn left and pick this master lock door, or we can go right, open this door up, and we see a hallway full of laser wires. But there is an option to use the ID card reader, and the janitor's ID is laying right here. That's convenient. We'll swipe that.
Identification rejected.
Well, I was going to say, that would have been too easy. Let's see if I can disarm all of these without setting them off. You get a lot of good materials by doing this. Oh, we set them off. Well, never mind. After the turrets are dealt with, we'll hit this button and unlock the door. The master lock door would have led us into this office. Then we could have followed this tunnel down a little ways and into the same room. Now we'll hack this terminal and then we'll open the security door. We also get attacked for hacking. Now finally we'll head through here, open another door. Then finally we get to this little vault and we can find some pretty cool items here. Most of them are junk items, and I think a few of them you can find in different spots throughout the game. But anyway, here's an Anchorage Veterans flag, classroom globe, reporter's camera, reporter's pencil. That's exciting. There's a prototype biometric scanner, some stem packs, a Dawnshire vase, very fancy. There's some clothes, a silver hairbrush, an antique pocket watch, a colonial vase. This is kind of a good spot to go if you're looking to decorate your settlement. But the most interesting thing here is in this case, the 2076 World Series baseball bat. We'll take it.
Bingo.
And the legendary effect on this one is it has a small chance to send targets flying. Then there's a Youth League baseball and baseball glove, a derby winning toy car, and a championship bowling pin and bowling ball. I did name my character the Dude, so we'll take that. You never actually see the Dude bowl in the Big Lebowski. Isn't that crazy? And like I said earlier, this is more of an honorable mention. I think most people know this is here, but either way, it's a pretty well hidden away location with a really unique reward. We'll head back outside. Now we're here right next to Taffington Boathouse, and if we head north, we can follow this little sewage area, take out some blood bugs. Come up here. What are you stuck on? Man, Fallout 4 sure is awesome. Anyway, now that they're gone, we'll continue along this little spillway and jump down and head into this sewer. This location is called Malden Drainage, and it's right here on the map, just north of Taffington Boathouse. Now we can look around. There's another blood bug up there. We'll walk over here and unlock this terminal. That'll open this door, and inside there's a steamer trunk and some other junk items. Heading back out, we'll walk along this left side, then we'll walk across these pipes to get to this eastern side of Malden Drainage. We see a dead body. That sucks. And he's named Russell Sutton, and in his inventory, he has the pledge initiation instructions. We'll listen to this. Well, actually, I'll just summarize what it said. It was just some culty rambling, but it gives another layer to this location, so that's kind of cool. I also stepped on a landmine, and it shot that guy's body over there. Anyway, there's a chemistry station, some chems over here, another trunk, and then finally, a fusion core. And that's about it for Malden Drainage. I'm not sure if that holotape ties in with any other lore, but feel free to let me know if it does. With that, we'll head back outside. The next spot we're going to is a short one. We're right here next to Cambridge Polymer Labs. We'll jump in the river and swim over here to this boat. And we see one of these dolphin-like creatures and a skeleton who has a machete laying next to him. And this looks to be a reference to Jaws, which is cool. I've actually never seen Jaws, but I'm assuming it was a good movie. Well, I won't spend too long here on this Easter egg. Moving on. The fire over here kind of caught my attention. Oh, I wonder what it could be. That was sarcasm. It's a UFO. I'm sure you've seen this as well. And I wasn't planning on checking it out, but since we're here, there's some green blood on the ground, and we'll follow it along, down this hill, then into this cave, which is right here on the map, just west of Cambridge Polymer Labs. Heading inside, we see some more blood, and around the corner, there's an alien. What's up, man? Then we can take the alien blaster pistol, which of course is a unique weapon. Definitely not as good as the one in Fallout 3. He also has some alien blaster rounds. And that's pretty much it for here. Let's head back out. Arriving at our next location. We're here just northeast of Relay Tower OBB 915. And this spot I like to call the Canister Launch Shack. So we'll head inside, and you can see why it's called this. There's a ton of canisters in here, and then a few lined up here ready to launch. So we'll do just that. There it goes. Cool. Beautiful. And one more. Okay. It went straight down. It's a nice view from here too. There's a Yaguai down there in that pond. We can take the rest of them and line them up. Here we go. Oh. That wasn't good. Anyway, we'll look around the rest of the shack. Over here's a toilet. Then there's a bed, some random items, and a fridge on this side. Really nothing else of note here, so we'll head to the next spot. Well, I was looking for our next spot, and I accidentally stumbled across this graveyard and cathedral, which is located right here on the map, just southeast of mass gravel and sand. I'm not sure if this is tied to any quest or anything, but there's an advanced locked door right here to Union's Hope Cathedral. Once inside, we'll open this door and head into the cathedral itself, and we get attacked by Father Gabe, then we get attacked by some ghouls. Oh, I didn't realize that Father Gabe was a ghoul too. I guess that makes sense why he wasn't getting attacked. He also has hair. That's interesting. He doesn't have anything unique on him. We can keep looking around. I really love it when I make these videos and accidentally stumble across locations like this. It happens in almost every one of them. I think that says a lot about how great the exploration is in the Fallout games that I play. This side is mostly destroyed. We can head back here, I guess towards the front. These doors are nice. Is there a way up there? I don't know if there is. I don't see any stairs. Yeah, it doesn't look like there are. Well, this location didn't really have anything unique inside besides a named NPC. So let's head out the front doors. You know what I was just thinking about that would be crazy? What if we had like Google Maps, right? But for Fallout. Anyway, we're now here at Mass Chemical, which is an unmarked location just west of Bunker Hill. We'll head inside. It's actually really bright in here. These windows are kind of glitching out. We'll pretend like we don't notice that. We're in this big warehouse area. There's a couple skeletons, some other junk items over there. We'll head up this ramp, continuing along. We can head all the way up here and open a door to head back outside. Once we're back outside, we can head up these stairs, and there's a super mutant waiting for us. And that's really it for up here. Do you think I can make a jump to that building? We'll see. Oh, we did. I'm actually surprised. Before we leave Mass Chemical, there's another spot around back we can go to. Just over here to the left, we can enter the construction site warehouse. And there's a super mutant upstairs. He's coming down to greet us. How kind of him. We'll head up these stairs and across this walkway. And there's nothing else in here besides this piece of meat. Alright, let's get out of here. We're now at this abandoned house, which has some really nice Halloween decorations. This spot is just southeast of Bunker Hill. There's a couple skeletons on the porch, but we'll head inside this abandoned house. Once inside, we see a couple ghouls on the ground. Look at this ghoul's hand. It's like that one you need in transit to build the switch to turn the power on. You know what I mean? Well, now I'm wondering if this is tied to something as well. There's a holotape here that says control subjects recording 1 out of 3. I'm pretty sure it was about someone starting to turn into a ghoul. We'll head upstairs. There's another holotape here. Then a little bedroom. Another bedroom here. Cool posters on the wall. Plenty of brain fungus as well. Heading up more stairs. There's an advanced locked door. And we'll walk inside. There's a mannequin in that corner. And a glowing one. And the final holotape here. That mannequin's really creepy. There's also a steamer trunk. But that's about it. I always like it when these unmarked locations have a little bit of lore. I've said it before in different videos, but it really makes this world feel alive. Let's head back out. Now we're here at Bridgeway Trust, which is right here on the map, just south of Backstreet Apparel. Once inside, we see there's some nice tile work. Looks like a bomb went off here. This office has a couple skeletons inside. Then we can go behind the counter. Looks like someone got domed right here. There's a lot of pre-war money laying around. Both of these skeletons have gas masks and guns. I guess the scene here was they were robbing the bank as the bombs dropped. Now we can't open the security door, but there is a terminal here on the right we can unlock. Once the door is unlocked, we'll walk inside and see a ton of safes here on the wall and on this wall as well. There's some money over here and some gold bars, which each one of these gold bars give you 10 gold and are worth 450 caps, and there's 4 of them here. Then onto the safes. There's plenty of pre-war money here to find, and this place is absolutely great if you're trying to find a lot of loot to sell or pre-war money. Honestly, just these gold bars alone are worth coming here. And I really like this unmarked location. The lighting in here is really nice. The little robber scene is cool, and the vault is full of good loot. Anyway, we'll head out of here. I wasn't planning on going here either, but there's a laundromat here in Lexington, which is just about here on the map. Just west of Lexington. We'll head in here. There's a wall of washers and dryers here on the left side. There's an office back here with the first aid box. And yeah, that's about everything. There is an overdue book here which is pretty much the only thing we're going to pick up. We'll head right back outside. Well, now we're here at Lexington Bank, right here in between Lexington and Super Duper Mart. This one we don't actually have to enter an interior cell. We can just walk inside. There's some bottle caps and pre-war money. Then back here in the corner, there's another door we can't open, but there's a terminal here, and we'll open that up. And it seems like there was another robbery going on. We see some pre-war money and this blown out wall. Then if we jump down, we find a duffel bag with 100 pre-war money, which is super nice to find early in the game. So we'll take it. Well, let's go ahead and go to our final location. And this will be a good one. We're now outside of Mass Fusion, which is right here on the map, right next to Good Neighbor. We'll head inside. Once inside, I'll show you a little trick here. I'm going to go over to this elevator shaft. I guess I'll get rid of this gunner first. And then I'll simply drop this biometric scanner and hold it. And just work ourselves up this wall here. Now for the place we're going, you can use a suit of power armor with a jetpack attachment to get there. But this is a lot more fun. So I'll just drop in here. Perfect. Now we're above where all the gunners are, so they won't be able to reach us. You can actually see a bobblehead right there, but we are going much further up. So I'll grab this again, go over to this wall, and just push our way up, slowly but surely. Oh, well, that was expected. It took me a really long time to do this the first time. It may be easier with power armor and the jetpack attachment, so that's worth keeping in mind. But we're making some good progress now. This is one of my favorite glitches in Fallout 4, by the way. And we're falling. And we're dead. Trust me, it'll be worth it. It seems like it's easier to do this if you use a larger junk item, but this is the biggest one I had, so it'll have to do. We're getting somewhere now. I'm getting kind of stuck in this spot. Try to push myself up here in this corner. Try not to fall. I'm actually going to try this wall here on the other side. I can't remember exactly how I did this before. Well, after much trying, we've made it. That took me longer than I expected. I thought I had it down after the first time I got up here. But if you're trying to do this trick, just try out different sections of the wall. The smoother spots, like right there, are a lot easier to go up. So you just kind of got to go around and feel it out. I try to quick save every time I get somewhere safe. And eventually we made it. But we're here nearly at the top of the Mass Fusion building. And much like that little hole in the wall down there, we're also in a hole in the wall, which leads into this little office. There's a stealth boy over here, a terminal here, which has some different logs in it. This guy over here was hammering some Nuka-Colas. But the most important thing here is inside of this safe. Once unlocked, we can go down and see two pieces of armor. The left and right leg of the free fall armor, which has a label that says prevents falling damage. So we'll take that and put them on. And then we can go and jump.
The robot workbench is a powerful tool.
And no worries, Ada. We're good. Honestly, this armor is really overpowered. I can just jump down here like nothing happened. See, these are the type of items I love to find. Super hidden away and hard to get to, but it's also really rewarding once you do find them. It's like we have a suit of power armor now. Now let's head to our first location. And we don't have to go too far, as this is it right here. This is where we're at on the map, just a little northeast of Freeside's North Gate. We can open the manhole to North Sewers. Once inside, we'll follow this tunnel along. New Vegas is really different from Fallout 3 in that there's not as much to explore underground. Fallout 3 has all the metros and the maze of tunnels underneath the DC, which I think adds some great exploration in that game. That being said, New Vegas does have a tunnel system of its own, so we'll head east, see what's going on down here. This leads into a larger room. Doesn't look to be anyone home though. There's a ton of fire barrels here, so I would assume we'd see someone. Let's see what's down here. I don't really have an order to how I'd like to explore these tunnels, but I'd guess a lot of players probably haven't been to all of them, so we may see a few areas you haven't been to before. I keep expecting to turn the corner and see someone, but I haven't yet. Okay, so this continues along, but we'll head back up. These sewers are so easily missable. There's no map marker for them. It's definitely easy to walk over the entrances. Here's someone. She's a New Vegas citizen. Nice couch. Yeah, it looks like some people live down here. Honestly, doesn't seem too bad. Probably a lot cooler than outside. Another New Vegas citizen here. Here's another exit from the sewers. This leads to West Side Pawn Shop. I'm not going to get distracted and go up there or anything. I've always liked the artwork on the side of this building. This guy's in the Enclave. Have you been inside the West Side Co-op? You probably have. Let's go back to the sewers. Heading back down. We'll keep exploring. We have a dead end here. This door leads to the Thorn. How about down here? Whoa, it's like a giant sewer lid. That's cool. This goes to the central sewers. We'll hold on that for now. I just want to make sure we didn't miss anything. There's some more residents down here. This continues down. Then this goes to the east central sewers, which is different from the other ones we saw. I think we've seen about everything down here, or in this section of the sewer. So let's head in here. Looks to be a dead end up top, so we'll head down. This goes to another tunnel. This ladder leads out to the NCR Sharecroppers Farm. I like that they label those ladders. It doesn't just say leads to the Mojave or whatever. Oh, but here's one that says it leads to the Mojave Wasteland. Wow, look at that view. There's some rats down here. There's not as much in this section of it. I've just seen a bunch of rats. Here's a ghoul. Oh, here's a dead body. She's labeled as quote-unquote Sweet Jill. Dude, I was trying to say something. Oh, this is an unnaturally large-sized rodent. As I was saying, this is quote-unquote Sweet Jill. She doesn't really have anything on her besides a key labeled Luke's Find, so we'll take it. Then continuing in here, there's an adventurer's pack, some okay loot in here, a couple skeletons. Now I'm wondering where this key leads to. I guess we'll find out here in a bit. I promise this whole video isn't just me in these tunnels. I do have plenty of other places to go in this video. Here's another door. There's a gun cabinet and some ammo. This gun cabinet has a 10mm submachine gun in it. Decent find. We'll head out of this section of the sewers. Now let's head through here into the central sewers. There's a bunch of rats here as well. Like a lot of rats. We'll head over to this side first. There's a dead end up there. Then kind of a flooded area on this side, which is also a dead end. Now we'll head south. Oh look, a fiend. There was quite a few of them. Oh sick. We found where that key is used at. We can now open the door to sealed sewers. There's a ton of ghouls in here. We barely survived. We'll head through here. We can find a dead prospector, and he has a unique weapon. We'll take it. There's also a duffel bag here with a full suit of reinforced combat armor, some super stim packs, and a bunch of miscellaneous items. There's also a fire axe, which is more of a rare weapon, and it's kind of insane that this is worth 1,000 caps. The New Vegas economy is totally broken. This game is too realistic. This weapon has a really unique look to it. It's just a bent piece of pipe, but I like it. Well anyway, we'll keep moving along. Oh no, that looks broken. What's going on here? It like fixes itself if I go down low enough. Alright, here's some more cool stuff. There's a multi-plas rifle and a radiation suitcase, which has an advanced radiation suit inside of it. Good find. On this terminal, there's an option for central sewer control, and it says access override, house directive 449B. Not really sure what that did. Here's a door with some NCR troops inside. I feel like we spent enough time in the tunnels. Let's head to Camp McCarran. I was planning on coming here anyway, so this works out perfect. So there are a couple places I'd like to check out here. We'll head inside the terminal building. He's part of the Legion. But we'll head up here, then to the back where the concourse is. Then if we head over here and talk to Christina Morales, and she gives us an unmarked quest to go retrieve her husband's body, which is interesting because it adds another location to our map. So if you didn't come here and talk to Christina Morales, you'd have one less location on your map. I won't spend long on this one. I feel like it's decently well known. We gotta take out all these fiends before we can move his body. Now let's just go for it. I don't really have a ranged weapon build going on, but we just gotta drag him, or I guess carry him, down the street here. Of course this is the most respectful way to move a body. Hold them by their knee. Then we'll drop them there, then head back to McCarran and talk to Christina. We don't get anything for this little quest other than the extra location on our map. Anyway, we'll stay here in Camp McCarran and head out the back door. This goes into the supply shack, which I feel like is kind of tucked away, so you may have not been here. Daniel is another vendor we can access, so it's nice to know he's here. But if we head out this door, we get to the back side of the camp, which I feel like I've rarely ever been to. There's some ammo we can take, a little guard post here. Then on this western side, there's a couple trailers, This one has these little cages inside, a bunch of crates, some planes, which look to be in good shape. Kind of liminal over here, just a little bit, not too much, circling around. These garage doors go back into the terminal, but we'll keep walking past those. We can see the monorail there. Then over here, there's a little obstacle course. I like this little detail. We do have to keep in mind, at this point in New Vegas, there is like an active war going on, which is mentioned before. I always kind of forget about. Pretty easy obstacle course, I'd say. You don't even really have to jump. I like it back here. It's really chill. Here's some more planes, some more crates, and this goes back to that supply shed. That's about everything I wanted to check out here. Let's keep moving along. Now we're here at Camp Guardian, which is here on the map, way to the east. It's actually a little further east than the fort. I like this sign. Elevation, really high. Population, 12-ish. Now we'll wind our way up to the top of the camp. There's a bunch of notes we can find on the way up as well. There's an outhouse over here. Then we'll cross this bridge. Looks like they had a little shooting range over here. I like how it winds up around this location. We finally made it. We see an NCR flag over there. This rat isn't attacking me for some reason. He's kind of chill. They do this jumping animation that's kind of funny. Let's see if he does it again. There it is. Anyway, we're now here at the camp, which this is Guardian Peak. Now, of course, these two locations are marked on our map, but they're just so far off the main path. I felt like it was worth coming by here. We'll go to the top of these stairs. We can see the fort, and it says Scenic Overlook, and it is pretty scenic. Back in the day, when I was a kid, I made Guardian Peak my player home just because I like the view. There are a couple crates here you can move around, so I had moved them all into that tent, and that was my house. The camp has a bunch of random items around it, some bottle caps, and going inside the tent. Looks like there was a fight here of some sort. Let's go into the cave as well. There's a big cavern area with some C4. This stack is worth 5,000 caps. That's a great find. Continuing along, we can keep heading down, and then we find an NCR trooper. This is Private Halford. He's been injured, so we can use a doctor bag to heal his leg, and we tell him to get out of here. He actually goes the wrong way. He gives us the schematics to the dog tag fist, so a decent reward. Well, I told him to leave, but I guess he wants to fight, so we'll help him out. Man, maybe he doesn't need our help anyway. He's definitely not going to make it out of here alive. He's almost dead. Dude, just leave. Oh my god, he died. Well, we tried to save him. Well, either way, we'll keep looking around. There's a ton of lake lurks down here. There's another dead NCR trooper. A couple more, actually. There's also a lake lurk team here. And we die. How about round 2? Now that we've taken out all the creatures from the Black Lagoon, we can loot a lot more dead NCR troopers than this pack Brahmin, which has a hunting rifle on it. We'll continue along now. Let's jump in here and try not to drown. And we can exit to the Mojave Wasteland and swim up. I wanted to show you this secret exit as well. I thought it was kind of cool. Well, anyway, that was Camp Guardian and Guardian Peak. Let's head to our next spot. I was about to head into Old Mormon Fort, and then I looked over here and was like, hey, there's a body. Here's a little buster, which I'm not sure why he's here, but we'll take his stuff. Now, of course, most players have been inside of Old Mormon Fort, but I realized there's a back left corner here with another door, so we'll head in here. And it looks to be a little supply area. Heading upstairs. There's some more crates, some barrels as well, and some empty bunk beds. That's it for here. Now we're here at Gun Runners, and we'll head east. There's a lot of houses here on the outskirts of Vegas. We can head inside of Orion Marino's house, which is just about here on the map, just southeast of Gun Runners. This guy is in the Enclave. His house has the same layout as Doc Mitchell's, just this room is smaller. No, that's a lie. It's a little different. It's very similar though. We'll head back outside. Most of these houses are boarded up. This is Isaac's house. It says we're not supposed to go inside, but we're here anyway. There's nothing really inside though. Then we'll head in this one. There's an NPC here. Looks like she's working on her invisible terminal. We can even hear her typing. That's so funny. We're gonna take all of her food. There's not much in this house either. There's another house inside of the NCR Sharecropper's Farm, and it's the barracks here. There's nothing that interesting inside, except for this skill book. I never realized, but when you open a door like this, there's a little animation. Watch. Very cool. Let's keep moving on. I'm going to try to rapid fire some of these. We're here at the Prospector Saloon, which is of course here in Good Springs, and around back. There's a locked door, which I feel like is kind of easy to walk past. This leads to a little moonshine still. We can take some moonshine. We'll now head east, and we'll turn into this valley. Then over here in the corner, there's a couple rad scorpions. There sure are a lot of them. Once they're all gone, we'll head into their lair here. There's a dead prospector here with a 10mm submachine gun. And yeah, that's it. Now we're here at Good Springs Source, southeast of Good Springs. And we'll talk to Barton Thorne here. And he asks us to help him out with something. We ask what it is, and he says some girl is trapped up here. So being the kind person we are, we'll go help her out. We'll head up this ridge, which starts about here on the map. We'll take out some geckos. Then we get up here, see a bunch of skeletons. Then Barton Thorne attacks us. He tricked us into coming up here, so we'll get rid of him. There goes his head. What a loser. Anyway, there's a fridge up here, which has some food and wine inside. But what's really cool about this spot is this wild wasteland encounter. This is Johnny 5 Aces. There's 5 ace cards here, and some balls, which roll off the cliff. Alright, now we'll head to Prim. Of course, Prim is here on the map, but if we head to the southern side, we'll take a right into here, and there's some houses to explore. We'll head inside of this one. Looks like someone had dinner laid out. There's a kitchen area. There's a star bottle cap here. Then a bedroom with a Nuka-Cola lamp and first aid box. Heading back out, we'll go down here to the next one. We can steal the Ruby's casserole here on the table. This is a good area to come to if you're playing hardcore and need some easy items to grab, or food items as well. We'll go to this one next. There's some stains on the floor, and a skeleton on this bed with a switchblade through its eye. There is a safe with some bottle caps inside. Then on to the last house. There's a gecko kebab in the oven, which is a pretty good food item. A 9mm pistol in this cabinet, and that's about it. Just wanted to swing by here quickly. Definitely an easy little area to miss. As we get closer to our next location, we do start to take on some radiation. So we'll put on the advanced radiation suit we found earlier. And we see a bunch of green particle effects in the air. And we turn this corner and see a bunch of ghouls. We'll take them out real quick. And now we've discovered Mystique Mountains Crater, which is right here on the map, just southwest of Prim. Now of course this is another marked location, but I feel like we're still in a very early level area of the game. So you may not have swung by here before, especially since you take on a ton of rads when you do arrive. And once again, this area is a little off the main path, so we'll talk to Feral Ghoul Roamer. Nah, I'm just kidding. That's just a glitch. We'll open door to Hell's Motel, then take out this Mr. Handy. Then we'll look around. There's a dead ghoul here, named Dr. Rotson. He has a doctor's bag, a turbo, and some irradiated water. There's a little clinic in this corner. Then a skill book right here, weapons repair kit, and a briefcase, which doesn't have anything good inside. Then there's a kitchen area with another moonshine still. Everything in the fridge is irradiated. Heading upstairs, there's a bed and nothing much else. We'll head on to our next spot. From one off the main trail location to another, we'll walk down into this canyon and discover Crescent Canyon West, which is right here on the map, just west of Mojave Drive-In. This is one of the southernmost locations in the game, and it's definitely tucked away. We start taking on radiation, so we'll try to move quickly. There's some geckos here. Like I've said before, I like it when New Vegas mixes in areas like this, instead of it just being flat, you know. We're now in a valley area. That's why I liked exploring the mountains, kind of around Jacobstown. It's just a cool change of scenery. There's a trailer here with a footlocker, where we can find another advanced radiation suit. There's a destroyed road up there, it looks like. Another footlocker, labeled as armor case, and it has a full suit of combat armor inside. Good find. There's some fallen train carts here. Then we'll reach the other side and discover Crescent Canyon East, which is here on the map. We'll head out of here, and we're going to go look around Nobark's house, which is behind the main Novak area. We'll head inside, and he has an interesting house. He has a rigged shotgun here, a bunch of empty Nuka-Cola bottles. There's a bunch of them hung from these strings. Then over here, he has his mattress and a typewriter and coffee machine up on top of this platform. If you run into these bottles, they fly off. Anyway, that was Nobark's house. Now we're here on the far eastern side of the map, heading up this hill, and we arrive in Bitter Springs, which used to be a Great Khan settlement until the NCR rolled in, and they brought with them their regulations. It says there's a sundown curfew, there's no squatting within view of camp, and you have to keep your food, water, and pets away from camp supplies, no mixing. Then claimants seeking property of kin, you have to bring quartermaster details and a witness. Triage decision appeals are no longer accepted, and you can't use firearms. Man, I sure do love the government. Bitter Springs is here on the map, just northwest of Camp Guardian. Of course, this is a marked location, but once again, it's well off the main trail you'd follow, so I wanted to come by here. The main tent is up this hill. There's some NCR troopers back here as well. Oh, it looks like there's a cave up there. Let's go check it out. We can enter the Great Khan Supply Cave, which is here specifically, just northwest of Bitter Springs. There's a bunch of ants in here, bunch of radiation barrels as well. But heading back here, there's some ant nectar, which these look cool. I like the shiny effect on them. A big Great Khan sign here on this rock. In this corner, there's a broken fence, some food in this metal box, and a radioactive supply cache, which is a quest item. I don't know if I've ever done the quest tied to it though. We'll leave the cave. That was definitely an easy spot to miss, I would say. Oh, never mind. I just gave her those supplies. So that was the quest. Let's go explore up here, to the northern side of Bitter Springs. Looks like there's another cave. There's a bunch of gore on the ground, and we get attacked by night stalkers. A whole herd of them. Continuing along, we'll unlock this gate back here. Then we find some more supplies. A bunch of explosives here. Some ammo. Another Great Khan supply cache. What does this represent? I get this one though. Can't really say I like taxes either. I guess I'll go turn these supplies in. I don't really want to help the NCR, but I also don't want 10 extra pounds in my inventory. You know what I mean? There's a cemetery here on this western side. Sure are a lot of graves. There is one more location I'd like to swing by while we're in this area of the map. Oh look, more night stalkers. My favorite. These give me flashbacks to old world blues. Anyway, there's a cave over here. Bloodborne Cave, to be exact. It's right here on the map, just northwest of Bitter Springs. We'll head inside. I've accidentally done a lot of caving this video. Making our way through this tunnel, we find a gate here, which has a very hard lock on it. Picking that. Then there's some ammo on the ground, a 12.7mm submachine gun, kinda rare. First aid box. Then finally a trunk with 7,500 caps in it, and a bunch of NCR and Legion money. Dude, we are stacked. I definitely remember that chest having a bunch of caps in it, but not that many. Here's a Legionary, and a ton more Night Stalkers. We love to see it. Looks to be a little camp here, with a hunting shotgun. There's also a hunting revolver. Definitely some higher level items in this cave. Here's a 12.7mm pistol. But that's it for Bloodborne Cave. I'll hit you with a bit of a curveball. We're now here in Dead Money, about right here on the map, in Puesta del Sol South. There's a door here for a ruined cafe. Inside, there's a hologram vendor, which we can trade with. I really like the feel of this location. It's really hidden away in the maze of the villa here in Dead Money. Behind the bar, there's a little kitchen, then a storage room back here with a rataway and some purified water. In the register, there's some pre-war money, some chips, and the vending machine code for a return outfit item. Then heading towards the back, we'll go up some stairs to this top floor. I like this carpet here. Reminds me of The Shining. There's a tool cabinet in the corner, bunch of miscellaneous items in here. This dude stays smoking cigarettes. Kitchen area as well. Then down the hall, there's a little office and another kitchen. But that's it for here. I thought this spot was really hidden away. Back in the Mojave, we're here in Camp Searchlight, which is right here on the map. And there's this school. We'll head inside. There's a gecko waiting for us. Once the geckos are cleared out, we can look inside this classroom. There's a desk over here, first aid box behind it. Then on this back side, there's some shelves with a bunch of toys. Then some little sleeping rolls, which I don't know about you, but when I was in elementary school, we didn't have nap time. I found out later on that other schools did, and I can't say I wasn't jealous. We'll now continue southeast. We're now here at Fire Root Cavern, which is ways south, a little ways southeast of Camp Searchlight. This is kind of a unique cave. Got some greenery going on here. We got to clear out some geckos. Now this cave isn't really what we're after. If we follow this lip along, get past those geckos, and head up here, we'll exit back into the Mojave, and we discover Cottonwood Crater, which is also super irradiated, and we do have to pass through one location to get to this one, because it's up here, kind of on the cliffs. But anyway, there's a dead prospector here, and he does have a fat man. I think it's worth the trip for that alone, and I guess it has to be, because that's all there is here. Well, now we'll head out to our final location. We'll head to the northern border of New Vegas, and as we approach it, we see a UFO on the hill. For reference, we're about here on the map, a little ways east of Brooks Tumbleweed Ranch. This is another wild wasteland encounter, and maybe my favorite one. We see some aliens waiting for us. We'll take them out real quick. Searching the alien captain. He has an alien blaster and some alien power cells, along with a tri-beam laser rifle. This one also has a tri-beam laser rifle, and I guess this is their little camp. It's always nice to use this weapon again. We're here in the Broken Steel DLC, right by the satellite relay station. This is the spot you see Liberty Prime get destroyed at. His head is still right here. You got that right. But anyway, if we walk over here to the south, there's a really cool spot we can get to, which I had a lot of comments on in a different video. So shout out to everyone who had commented. But we can get out of bounds here, and I'll do that right here in the corner by the edge of this fence. And how I'm going to do that is drop a lot of 5mm rounds. Now this isn't my original idea. I saw it in a video by Trapped in Fallout, so I'll link his video below. That'll probably be enough. Now I'll get to stacking. This isn't my best work, but it should do the trick. Now we'll just jump up here and jump on this one. And that should be enough. Perfect. We're over the fence. Now we'll just continue south, jump up on these rocks, head over here. Oh look, a vertibird. Oh never mind, it disappeared. Well, here we are in the void. Such a beautiful place. I won't get distracted yet. We'll head over here to the north. We can see the backside of the rock, but more importantly, we can see a table with what looks to be a missile launcher on top and some ammo below that. We'll take the ammo first. This is labeled the Tesla cannon, so we'll take it. Now of course, we're not intended to be able to find this, but it's actually pretty easy to get to. Let's see what happens if we shoot it. Cool. It does use missiles, which is pretty expensive, but it sends out the same beam that the Tesla cannon does. Very cool. Well, let's see what's going on over here. I really just want to see if we're going to drop off the map or not. This is pretty sick. How far can we go? I guess it just keeps going. Look how far away we are from everything. You know what? This could be a good thumbnail. Anyway, I guess this texture just repeats indefinitely. We're so far off the map, you can't even see where we are. Well, this has been fun. I guess we'll head back to the Capital Wasteland now. The next place we're going to, I really like. We're right about here on the map, just southwest of Grey Ditch. We're in this little highway section of the map, and over here, we see something kind of interesting. There's some fences set up, and a cage down here. On top of it, there's some bottles and glasses. This fence is interesting, but it's hard to say what it could be for. There's a little bit of gore here at the end. Then there's another cage with some first aid boxes and ammo next to it. As of now, it's kind of unknown why this is here, but if we go to Grey Ditch and complete the quest called Those, we can come back and it'll be a little different. So I'll go do that real quick. Now that's done, we'll head back to that same spot. I'll actually free cam over there. And now we see a totally different scene. There's some raiders here and some mole rats. And now we can see this is a mole rat racetrack, which is really sick. All the raiders here are cheering, even though the race isn't actually going on. Maybe they're just laughing at this guy because he can't find a way out. And I'm a big fan of this encounter. Even though this is easily missed, it shows that what we're doing in the game does have some sort of impact. as none of this is going on when the fire ants are in the area. But after those is done, everyone gets back to racing mole rats. I honestly didn't know this was a thing until I started putting together this video. Anyway, let's get out of free cam and sneak over here. Sorry to ruin the party. I also like that this gives the raiders a little bit of personality. Well, I guess gave, because they're just kind of standard enemies. Now we'll leave the races and head to the next spot. Alright, so now we're back here at the Plunger room, which is right here on the map. This is a little bit of a revisit from the very first video in this series. So we'll head in here. So I don't know why, but I was under the impression that you could just climb up these plungers. But I think if we try to, they just fall off the wall. But I did want to see if there's anything here in the rafters. So using the free cam, we can come up here, and there doesn't look to be anything. We can come up here above the lights, and there's still nothing. We'll leave here and head to another revisit. We're now a megaton, and I was thinking you could use the hatch above Lucas Sims's house and scale the wall to get up here to the platform where Stockholm is. But after many tries, I was not able to. I'll try it one last time for good measure. I think I had more success on this side. So we'll jump. Alright, we're getting close. But we get here, and there seems to be a barrier. So I don't know if we can make it down there. He's staring at us. Oh well. It is what it is. Hold up, wait. I did it. Somehow, there's like this very certain metal beam you have to follow. If you go too far here to the left, you fall off. Or if you go too far here to the right, there's an invisible wall here. But I found the right spot somehow. So now let's talk to Stockholm.
The more time I spend talking to you, the less I'm spending watching for raiders. How the hell did you get up here anyway?
First time I've heard that dialogue while actually playing. He has a mattress up here, a chair, and then a platform that goes out a little further. Not very easy to walk out there though. We can walk out here, and once again, stare into the void. Well, I'm glad I gave that a few more tries. We'll go ahead and leave Megaton now. And next up is the Capitol Post Office, which is right here on the map. Basically right on top of the Elephant South map marker. They have a really nice decal out here, but we'll head inside. Once inside, we see this big lobby area. Then over in this room, there's a bunch of terminals, which have different stories on them from before the war. But the really interesting thing about this location is if we head down this ramp and then take a left into this room, and over in the corner, we see a body, missing his head. Well, not missing as in we can't find it because it's right there, but it's off his body. And the model they use for this is pretty creepy. There's an eyeball right here as well. Anyway, this is Gibson, and searching him, we find some ammo, Gibson's key, and Gibson's scrap of paper. On his scrap of paper, it says search the house, which is pretty vague, but fortunately I watched a really cool video that showed where this led to. So we'll head back outside. Now we're here at Minefield, which is right here on the map, and if we head inside of this house, over on the western side, we see it's labeled as Gibson House. Then once inside, we can turn and find a tiny model of a house. Then we have the option to unlock it using the key we found. And there's some buff out, junk food, and pre-war money, which isn't a crazy find. But what's more interesting is the reference behind this location. I'll link the video that I watched about it by Synonymous. And you should totally check out his channel anyway. He makes some really excellent Fallout videos. Definitely one of my favorite Fallout channels. Alright, well let's continue on. Now we're here at Pirate Peely, which is about right here on the map, just southwest of the Irradiated Metro. And at this location, they have boats and bait, rentals, worms, ice cream, and talking parrots. So we'll head down this little hill. There's a little dock area with some smaller boats over here, then a larger boat right here. Then we'll head inside the building itself, and it's labeled as boats and bait. After getting rid of a rad roach, we'll look around a little. There's a mannequin back here in the corner, a fridge full of alcohol. On the wall, there's the same sign that we see outside. There's a first aid box, a cash register, and a terminal that connects to this safe, which has some standard loot inside of it. And yeah, that's about it. This spot is really easy to miss because it's behind this wall, which really tucks it away. Anyway, now we're here in Seward Square, specifically about right here on the map, just a little northwest of Seward Square southeast. There's this unmarked office building, which we'll head inside. Seems to be totally abandoned. Looks to be a couple cubicles. He died as he lived. Then we'll walk through this hole in the wall. There's some more desks over here in the corner. Then we'll head up this ramp. There's a terminal in the corner, labeled as workstation. And here we get some really exciting options. We can submit timesheet, and it says time since last report, 72,982 days. Then hours worked since last report, 0 hours. Then below it, it says, our records indicate that you currently have an inadequate ratio of time worked to time passed. Your current workload balance, minus your last reported pay time off, indicates that you will be required to work an additional 417,040 extra hours in order to equalize your ratio. Please schedule a meeting with your immediate supervisor and submit Form HR 2847A with a written plan to make up the lost time. Thank you and have a productive day. Pre-war fallout sure was realistic. Then we can request tax information, review personal information, contact technical support, or this option, which gives us more information about the system. Wow, what an amazing place to work. I could never imagine anyone wanting more than this. Anyway, there's some stim packs in this corner, then heading out this door, and there's a Talon Company merc out here. Fox immediately took him out. Then there's some first aid boxes and ammo. There's a switch here as well, which shot a little artillery. Wonder if we can do it again. We sure can. Looks like it shoots a couple of them. There's a holotape here as well, which I guess confirms that the Talon Company has artillery, which honestly, I'm wondering where they're shooting that from. This is a cool little detail to find. When I was a kid, I remember coming through here, and I had Star Paladin Cross as my follower, and for some reason I made her wait here. I think I was maybe trying to clear out the Capitol building, and I didn't want her to die, but then I kind of forgot that I made her wait here, and it took me forever to find her. I think I probably had to reload a save. Anyway, on to the next one. We're back here in Great Itch, which is right here on the map. Now this Main Street area has a few places we can explore. There's Brandis's house, a door to a recently built shack, which is really specific, and a door to the Wilkes' house. But then down here, there is another one. This is the abandoned home. Inside, there's a little mudroom area, a flipped over couch, some weapons over here, a copy of Guns and Bullets. Then on this right side, there's a destroyed kitchen. There's a bathroom on this other side. Then heading upstairs, there's just a bedroom. The only thing of note is there's some pre-war money over here. Oh, and some jet. But that's it. We'll head out of here, arriving at some abandoned factory, which is here on the map, pretty much directly south of Megaton. Looks like there's a couple cars out front, a big Enclave banner up there. Then we'll head through the front door, and this is labeled as a car dealership. Once inside, we see there was some cool carpet here, and this is a nice little showroom. Got some lights hung up there. Same thing on this side. In this corner, there's a coffee machine. Then in this corner, there's a bunch of random items. Heading up these stairs, this looks to be where you would sit down and fill out the paperwork to buy a new car. There's a little waiting area here as well. Over in this corner, there's some of these one-seater cars, which I always really like the look of. Then there's a skill book right here. Other than that, there's some of these generator things. And this spot's really cool. Easy to miss, of course, but I like the extra details put into this place. Arriving at our next spot, we're here at a group of shacks, about here on the map, just west of Arafu. I believe online this is also known as the Wasteland Gypsy Village. There were some Wastelanders that were hostile when we first got here, but of course Fox did his thing. So now we'll explore their houses. We'll go into this one on the south first. There's a lot of skeletons in here. Some weapons though. We'll take it. There's a mini nuke here, right next to duck and cover. There's some ammo as well. I wonder what the story here is. There's no notes or holotapes, so it's anyone's guess. But we'll head back outside. There's another shack way to the south, but it's boarded up. Then there's these more destroyed ones. This one has some ammo. There's more on the hill. These don't really have anything in them. We get attacked by some bears. I didn't even have to do anything. Very nice. This shack over here does have some ammo. They had a nice view here. Anyway, we'll head into this shack to the north, and we get attacked. There's a stealth boy here on the table, alongside another skill book, a couple of beds. There's a kitchen area. I like how there's just a hole in the wall here, with the light shining through. That's about it for this one. Then we'll go check out this last one here in the middle. There's a skeleton here in the bathtub, with a toaster. Yeah, I wonder what happened there. In the corner, there's a dresser, and an empty footlocker. Then a combat shotgun is on this table, and that's it. This next spot is really short. Let's see if I can find it again. Alright, cool, here it is. We're just up a hill to the southeast to the alien homing beacon, and we can find some cans, some jet, psycho, and another skill book. This skill book I feel like is the most hidden away. Literally, we're just here in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, I'll grab that, and we'll head to downtown DC. The next place that we're going to is right here on the mall, on the map marker for Museum Authority building, and we can crawl into this tunnel to the Mirelurk nesting hole. Once inside, we see a big cave. There's some chems here in the corner. Then heading down this tunnel. Looks like it goes right. There's a leaking pipe here. Passing by another one, we see our first Mirelurk. We see some dead ants here. Looks like this used to be an ant tunnel. Then continuing along, we get to a section here with some foundation from one of the buildings around here in the mall, which I like the look of this. It adds some cool detail to kind of a standard tunnel. Then continuing south, we get rid of another Mirelurk. We pass by a dead raider. Then it looks like we've reached the end here. There's a first aid box. Then we can grab some Mirelurk meat from these Mirelurk egg clutches. There sure are a lot of skeletons here. We'll head back towards the start of this tunnel and take that right from earlier. Looks like we're walking right under a building here. I really like how this looks. There's some more skeletons over here and a first aid box. And this tunnel connects to the other one we had already been down. So I'll turn back around and head back outside. We're now on Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest, right next to the White House Plaza. And this area is kind of interesting. But over in this really cool looking building, we can actually go inside and we'll open the metal door to hotel. In this first little room, there's some miscellaneous items. I guess we woke up this Brotherhood of Steel Paladin. Then in here, he has a little setup. He has his bed, empty footlocker, first aid box, a silenced 10mm pistol. Then over on this table, there's a skill book. It would have been cool to explore this place a little more, but it's all good. Now we're back here in Elephant Plaza, right here on the map, just northwest of Elephant South. Over here we see a sign for a barber shop, which looks really nice. But if we go around back, there's another shop here. It's called Madame Jealous. Not sure if I pronounced that right, but it says it's a reading room for the discreet gentleman. So we'll head inside. It goes down into a basement, and at this front desk, we see a couple of mannequins. There's a bunch of books here as well. In this corner, there's some buff out. In the opposite corner, there's a coffee machine, couch, a cabinet we can't open, and a first aid box. Then on this right side of the counter, there's some sleepwear. And behind it, looks like they have that same carpet from the car dealership, or at least something close. There's some Mentats and some stim packs. Then a terminal, which I think is tied to this wall safe, which doesn't have anything good in it. And that's about it for here. This place is super easy to miss. It's hidden away in downtown DC, in its own little alleyway. Heading back outside. Now the next two places we're going to do require their own perks to actually get into, but I'll talk more on that in a second. Here we are at the first one. This is the Regulator HQ, which you can't get inside unless you have the Lawbringer perk, which now any evil human character has a finger on their inventory once they die, and we can bring that here and cash it in for caps and karma. Anyway, this is their HQ. They all have their Regulator dusters on. I guess they have this here for throwing knife practice. Too bad those aren't actually in this game. There is a Nuka-Cola Quantum in here. They have a skeleton in the bathtub for some reason. Heading upstairs, we can talk to Sonora Cruz, and we get a Regulator duster, and we can turn in all the fingers. Then we gain karma and make 140 caps. There's a guns and bullets here on the floor, and that's really everything here. So now I'm going to reload a save and get the opposite of this perk. Now we'll take the Contract Killer perk, which like I said, it's the opposite of the Lawbringer perk. As in good human NPCs will drop an ear that you can go and cash in. And once you get either of these perks, it tells you where to go to either cash in the fingers or the ears. Little Horn and Associates are in the scrapyard, inside of the scrapyard office. This is a little too corporate for me. I'm like, what are they sitting here writing about? This location's pretty funny. Then we can cash in ears to Daniel Littlehorn for caps and negative karma. Everyone's just sitting here pretending to work and staring at me. So we'll head on out. Now we're here at the Raid Shack, which is here on the map, just east of Bethesda Ruins, which that location feels pretty realistic. Fox has taken out all the raiders for me. How kind of him. It's kind of fenced off around this house. There's a little trailer here with a bed and some ammo. But we'll head inside and open the door to the Raid Shack. There's a bunch of raiders in here. Unsurprisingly, this raider right here has Stab Happy, a unique combat knife. There's a bunch of graffiti on the wall. Then in the kitchen area, there's a bunch of stains on the ground, some cherry bombs in the toilet, but nothing else of note. Heading upstairs, There's a couple bedrooms. This one has a 10mm submachine gun and a cabinet, which this is valued at 41 caps. But if this was New Vegas, that would be at least, I don't know, like 600. Then in this room, there's some more mattresses, some jet, a skull here on this desk, and that'll be it for that room. In the bathroom, there's nothing else of note, so we'll leave the raid shack. I always like it when we find something unique in one of these locations. Now we're here outside of this ruined building, just southwest of the sewer way station. We'll head up here, and we see this is a Talon Company camp, which this is kind of irrelevant, but I've always liked their combat armor. It looks cool, and you get kind of a steady supply of it if you have good karma. These guys pop up from time to time. Now we'll look around. There's some gun cabinets here. Then this flag on the wall really catches my eye. Is this supposed to be like their logo? It's like this skull bird carrying a baby. These guys are kind of odd. Over in this room, there's some ammo and a copy of Tumblers Today. Then we'll head into this room, which is where their beds are. Well, anyway, let's head to the next spot. Now we're here at Lady Frumperton's Fashions, which is here on the map. It's just south of DuPont Northeast. And once again, I like this sign out here. These upscale versions of the mannequins are cool as well. But we'll head inside. There's a bunch of clothes laying around, some more mannequins, a bunch of pre-war hats. Here's a dressing room, some more clothes in this corner. There's some glasses as well, which I feel like these tortoiseshell glasses are kind of rare. Then there's a skill book on top of this safe, and the safe has a decent amount of caps in it. I think the windows in here look kind of goofy. They look really small for some reason. But anyway, I have a really good time just wandering around these areas in downtown DC. There's so many places just like this. Definitely plenty of them to miss. We're now here in the Jury Street area, right next to Jury Street Metro Station. And there's a few places I'd like to go check out. First one is right over here. This is Gold Ribbon Grocers. Now Fox, I'm going to need you to wait right here. I don't want him to accidentally hit anything. As you can see, there's an arrow on the floor pointing us to this pressure plate, which I'll step on, which triggers that, and we'll follow this along. Comes down here to the end, hits that, then it shoots off baseballs, and it didn't do anything. I think it was supposed to set off those grenades. While watching all these fall over was still cool. There's a lot of sugar bombs here if you're trying to make some ultra jet, which will be in that area in a little bit, so I'll take them. Looks like there was a kitchen area here and a gas leak, I guess. There's some Nuka-Colas back here, first aid box on the wall, some cigarettes. We'll head back outside and over to this building. This is Hank's Electrical Supply, and inside there's some raiders. There's a bunch of toasters in here. In this back area, there's a workbench, some ammo, then the office area, and the safe has a decent amount of caps again, which we'd love to see. Over in the corner, there's a ladder to the rooftop. Up top, we can see some dead raiders. That's from us. There's a couple barrels of Aqua Pura as well, which is a nice detail. They really do add a lot into the world because of broken steel. Now to get to the next spot, we do have to go into the Jury Street Metro Station itself, so we'll head in here. Then we'll enter this area and go south. A little ways south, we see a door over here to the left, and this is labeled as the Jury Street Tunnels. Then getting to this tunnel, we'll head to this door, open it up, and we get greeted by Ryan Briggs. And this is a really interesting spot. He's got a mole rat here, named Pumpkin, and unfortunately we can't take him with us. There's a Nuka-Cola Quantum here on the table. Then over in this corner, there's a bunch of mole rat meat on the table, a ton of blood packs as well, then some Wonder Glue, next to some more mole rat meat. Then on this table, there's mole rat Wonder Meat, which is unique, and if we look at this machine, we have the option to activate Wonder Meat Maker, and it says, would you like to make Wonder Meat? 1 mole rat meat and 1 Wonder Glue. We'll say yes, and we have created some Wonder Meat, which mole rat Wonder Meat gives us plus 20 to HP, and regular mole rat meat just gives us 5, so quite a big difference. And this is a really cool find. I feel like it would be even nicer if Fallout 3 had like a hardcore survival mode, you know? But anyway, here's a skill book, and we have the key to Ryan's safe, which has some caps. Goodbye, Pumpkin. What's going on here? Now we're at another destroyed building, about right here on the map, just southwest of Marigold Station. This is labeled as an outpost. Inside we get attacked by some Wastelanders. Probably not a good idea to have a fire inside, but that's just me. There's a lot of miscellaneous items laying around here. But heading into this other room, there's a super mutant in this cage, which I'm not sure how they were able to get him in here. There's a mini nuke here on the shelf, a Nuka-Cola Quantum over here. Let's open the gate and see what happens. For some reason it has a very hard lock on it, and he attacks us. Well, actually, he runs over. I thought he was going to grab something. No, he's just trying to uppercut us. It's not working too well. He did have 4 frag grenades on him. Probably could have put those to good use. But anyway, we'll head back out. This next one will be short. There's a little grocery store here at Northwest Seneca Station. Heading in here, there's a safe with nothing good in it. And that's it. Told you this one would be short. But while we're here, we'll go cash in these sugar bombs. And we made 150 caps. Arriving at the sewer way station, which is here on the map, just southeast of Megaton. We'll head inside this building, then down this pipe to the county sewer main line. Following this tunnel along, we'll head over to this western corner, and there's a do not enter and a stop sign. Someone has some garden gnomes set up out here. So we'll open this door, and we get attacked by Gallo, who's a ghoul wearing a party hat. He's got some caps on him. The party hat I feel like is really rare, and a skill book. He had a really nice setup down here. He's got a couple pet rad roaches. Not sure exactly what he was eating here. Kind of crazy if it was ghouls. Well, I guess it was that, or humans. He has some strange meat here. Then a safe with a Nuka-Cola Quantum inside. Back in this corner, there's a bunch of caps on this table. Then he has a nice Nuka-Cola collection. Some of the trucks, 4 Nuka-Colas, a nice banner, and one of those Nuka-Cola lamps. He also has a couple pre-war books. And yeah, that was Gallo's lair. Now we'll go to the DLCs. Now we're here in Operation Anchorage, specifically right here, next to the Chinese Forward Camp Delta. And all I wanted to show was these snowmen, which are pretty cool. This one has some combat armor on it. Looks to be scaled up versions of what we use, and I think they were still working on this one. Now we're here in Broken Steel, at Adams Air Force Base. We're right here at Adams Storage Facility, which is a marked location. But I feel like I always get tunnel vision in this DLC, and kind of forget you can roam around here a little bit. But anyway, inside there's a bunch of first aid boxes, and all the materials they use to build those barriers they have everywhere. Then on this table, there's a lot of great stuff. There's a couple mini nukes, some flamer fuel, some Nuka-Colas, and a Nuka-Cola Quantum, some missiles, more ammo, and then finally, the Rapid Torch Flamer, which is a unique weapon. It just shoots a lot faster than normal flamers, hence the name. Now we'll head to Mothership Zeta for our last few locations. We're in the engineering core, and there's several spots that are pretty easy to miss. Of course we have to go into these different branches of the ship, but there's also side rooms we can explore. We'll check out the engine room first, which is over on this western side. We have some aliens to clear out. There's this big main room with a bunch of doors around it, but we'll head over here to the west. Now we'll head down these stairs. Finally we loop back around to the main room. This area has always felt very maze-like to me. I don't know why. But anyway, we get to this room, and there's a unique weapon, the electro suppressor. So we'll take it. And that's really about it for this area. Outside of that weapon, there's not too much else going on. So we'll head back into the engineering core, then head to this opposite side, to the east, which goes to the cargo hold. And this area is a lot more interesting. I'm going to go down here to this conveyor belt, and there's a ton of great items. A lot of them are from the Wasteland, but this is a good place to go if you're early on in this DLC and you need some decent items. Here's a missile launcher and some missiles. I like this little chute area, all the stuff dropping down. There's a safe over here, which is tied to a terminal in this area, so we'll keep an eye out for that. There's just a ton of great items here. But over in this corner, there's another door to the research lab. This area has a bunch of cars. Looks like a shuttle over here, and another car. There's a bunch of toy cars here as well. This area keeps on going. There's a bunch of giddy up buttercups here, so that's cool. I mean, there really are a lot of them. There's like a whole army of them. Not exactly sure what's going on in this room, but it is quite a scene. I'm like, look at all this. Why is there so many of them? There's a mini one here we can take. Well, anyway, we'll head back into the cargo hold. There's a ton of food here as well, and ammo, and weapons. Even more ammo over here. Here's the terminal that's tied to that safe, but unfortunately we can't unlock it. All that's in that safe is a unique plasma pistol, which is a good find. Now for the final location in this video, we'll head over here to this teleporter and go to the maintenance level. Following this along, we run into Sally inside of one of these trash compactors, and we can talk to her. And just as we do that, the door closes and we can't get out. Then this window opens up and closes, and we move down and it opens again. Nice shot. This is like a Mothership Zeta side quest. Opens up when we see some Brahmin. We see a nice car for like half a second. And Sally dips out. Thanks, Sally. Now we're stuck in here. We start to stumble. And then we fall. With a broken leg, we'll get back up. And this is the waste disposal area. We'll open this door, and we can work our way through here. There's these big machines that keep pressing down, but if we're quick, there's some safes back here. There's a ton of trash everywhere, of course. We'll continue along, but actually before we do, there's a military footlocker over here with General Chase's overcoat in it, which gives us a +5 to speech, +10 to small guns, and +1 to charisma. It's one of the 2 really cool unique items we can find in this part of the ship. Then we'll head through this door. I'm honestly surprised there's so many aliens in this section. I feel like it's abandoned. We reunite with Sally, but before we head back to the engineering core, we get to this little room with a ton of first aid boxes. But the most important thing here is the samurai sword, so we'll take that. Definitely one of my favorite unique weapons in this game, especially when you have the samurai armor as well. We'll head back to the engineering core. We'll be nice and return his sword. I found this sword. Does it belong to you? And now they're reunited. Now for this entry, we're just outside of the Citadel, right about here on the map. We're standing by this big pile of rubble, and you may be wondering, why are we here? And I'll go ahead and show you.
Those monsters, they're gonna get me.
Bro, you scared me. How'd you get up here? Alright, so I'm going to do double speed on this so you can see what I do. It takes a bit to get where we want to be. This is one of my favorite glitches in the game. I used to do this on almost every new playthrough of Fallout 3, back when I was a very impatient kid, and didn't want to wait to get power armor training. You see, you can use this glitch to get into the Citadel early, which means you can get power armor training early. I've noticed that I like to start these videos with a boundary break. They're always a good time. But now we're here and we see a little bit of the void. Let's go look around a bit. If we head to this northeastern side, we can get into the Citadel courtyard, which of course we wouldn't normally be able to do, unless we get to a certain point in the main quest, as that big metal door up there doesn't open until our dad dies. Oh, there's like a giant crater over here. That's kind of interesting. I am under the concrete. I don't think you can shoot out of here. Nope. I was trying to get up here to these little guard posts, but I don't think there's a way. That's too bad. Nothing makes sense down here. I really like how this looks. I kind of wonder how far we can go. These building models are kind of cool. You can walk through them. Check it out. Wow. It's really interesting to see what all gets loaded in when we're out of bounds like this. Look at this idiot. Can't even figure out where I am.
This is bullshit. Come out and fight. You wanna be my new boyfriend?
Oh, she got through. How did she do that? Well, that was fun. Let's go check out another spot. Now we're here at this radioactive pond, which is really tucked away. It's about right here on our map, a ways northwest of the oasis. We'll swim across the pond and see what's on the other side. There are some dead bodies here, which is unfortunate to see, but there are some rataways as well, so that's nice. There's this Wastelander here, and a raider over there. Neither one of them have anything on them, but there is a scientist here who has a radiation suit we'll take. There's a safe here as well. There's the 4 rataways on the ground, jet on the table, some buff out, some mentats. But most importantly, there's a copy of the DC Journal of Internal Medicine. I kind of wonder what the story here is. I don't imagine it's a good one. I honestly didn't know this was in the game until I started making this video. It's just something about this little canyon here. Really easy to walk past. That was kind of clean. Now we're onto a location that's just about on the border of the map. This is the Wastelander tent and Sniper Vista. It can be found right here, just a little southwest of the Yaguai tunnels. This one I wasn't familiar with until I read a comment about it, so thank you person who commented. Over here we see some Wastelanders and their dog. This person's taking a nap. They have their little radio propped up on some rocks there. Inside of the tent, we see they have some of their items over here on the left. They're actually not marked to own, so you can take all of this. A little ways south of the tent, we have the sniper vista, which there's the sniper rifle. There's some ammo over there, and a really excellent view. You think I can hit that robo brain from here? Yes. Anyway, this is a really cool location that's super tucked away. This would be a really cool player home if there was a map marker for it, of course. But now we'll continue along to a bunch of holes in the ground, and I'm not talking vaults. Now I would like to show you the 7 drainage chambers and 2 sealed cisterns tied to radio signals in the game, and they're all of course very hidden away. I know I had covered one drainage chamber in the past, but either way, I'd like to quickly show you all these in this video. Turning on the radio signal towers will give us a radio station we can listen to on our Pip-Boy, and some of them are kind of unique, but I'm more just worried about showing you the locations themselves. Anyway, we're at the one tied to Signal Kilo Bravo, which is right here on our map, at the WKML broadcast station. It's northwest of Paradise Falls. You've more than likely been to this one before because there is a bobblehead here in this location, but there's some other good stuff as well. There's a Stealth Boy, a stem pack, some purified water, and a Rataway. Don't want to forget this. Next up is the drainage chamber tied to Signal Oscar Zulu, which is the one I had checked out in a different video. This one can be found right here on the map, right next to Relay Tower KXB811. This goes down a tunnel and has a door on the left and right. On the left there's a room with a pre-war book and a skill book, along with some mentats and purified water. On the right side there's this little shelter. There's a first aid box, some Rataway, a footlocker, and some ammo. Now we're onto the one tied to Alpha Lima, which is right here on our map, right on top of the Deathclaw Sanctuary. This just has one door here at the end of the tunnel, which leads to another door. Looks like someone was locked out. We got in and there are some useful items here. There's some mentats, some stem packs, a pre-war book, pork and beans, then some more purified water, and a Rataway. Next up is Echo Foxtrot, which is right here on the map, just east of Broadcast Tower LP8. This has that really narrow tunnel as well, and at the very end there looks to be a lot of food items. Very cool. Someone loves Salisbury steak. There's 8 of them in here. This is like the original sloppy steak. But there is a big book of science. Nearly all of these drainage chambers and cisterns have a skill book in them, so it's worth it to check these out. Next up is Oscar Tango, which is in the middle of the street, just north of Jury Street Metro Station. There's a door here at the end that leads into this room, which looks like it was raided. But once again, there's a big book of science and a pre-war book. I did notice there's a button on the wall, so we have to press it. Oh, once we go down here, we get attacked by raiders. What I was trying to say was there's some skeletons over here, and then this raider artwork, I guess. Looks like a torture chamber to me. Next up is Sierra Romeo, which is here, right next to Broadcast Tower KT8. Once we enter, we can head into this door here on the left. There's a pre-war book over here on the shelf. There looks to be another stairwell here we'll try to open up. These signs are so goofy. There's another pre-war book over here right next to a broken terminal, but we'll turn and access this one over here. And there's just a bunch of numbers and letters. If we click it, nothing happens. But if we turn around and look on this desk, we can find the encryption key. We'll take it. Then we'll go back to the terminal to open the secure hatch. At the bottom of the stairs, we can find 2 dead Chinese remnant spies, a really unique find in these chambers. There's a Chinese commando hat, a mini nuke back there on the floor, and another skill book. Very nice. Now we're on to the Yankee Bravo chamber, and this one is just about here on the map, just northwest of the Corvega factory. There's a tunnel over here on the left side. We'll go check it out. This leads to a bunch of ghouls. Should be fun. After taking them out and looking around the cave, there's pretty much nothing here, so we'll head to the other door on the other side of the tunnel. Heading through this doorway, we get hit by a reaver ball. We're rewarded with some items over here in this room. We have another skill book and some stem packs. Look how nasty he is. Bro probably smells so bad. On to our second to last chamber. We're here at the Sierra Victor signal, which is right here on the map, which is just southeast of Jacko's Pop and Gas Stop. That's a pretty catchy name. This one leads to a tunnel here. Looks to be a couple shotgun traps. Then we get here to a bunch of cabinets and we can just jump on through here and some grenades fall. So we'll throw that over there. Still take some damage. We'll go left and disarm a couple frag mines and go through this door. This leads to a pretty nice little setup. There's a mini nuke here, another skill book, and that looks like a mini generator that's been destroyed. Looks like this guy blew himself up. How tragic. There's some purified water, ammo, and an assault rifle over here as well. The door on the other side just leads back out to the tunnel. Now we finally made it to the last drainage chamber, and this is for Signal Papa November. This can be found right here on our map, just east of the Yaguai tunnels. This brings us down to a couple of rooms. In the first one we can find a pre-war book and a skill book. Then over here we can find a little shelter with some food items. And yeah, that's about it for these drainage chambers and the 2 cisterns. It's really easy to miss some of these. There's no actual quest tied to any of them. And of course, they're all unmarked. I'd be interested to hear if you found all these, and if not, which ones did you miss? But with that, we'll continue along. Now, I'm sure you're probably getting tired of exploring underground, but here we are at Bethesda Underworks, which is right here on the map, just a little northeast of Bethesda Ruins. And you may think that this has a map marker tied to it, since it's a subway entrance, but it sure doesn't. It's its own little cell. Let's head inside. There are some ghouls here, of course. But there's also some cigarettes in this Edotronic, so that's cool. This is kind of a standard metro station, but it is closed off from any of the other ones. The only difference here is there's some radiation barrels coming through the ceiling, which looks really cool. That can't be good for the environment. Looks like quite a few of them have fallen down. Both of the tunnels here lead to dead ends. On the opposite side we can go down this right tunnel and continue along. This leads to a hallway with some junk items in it. There are a couple stim packs over here. This leads to another tunnel, but if we turn right into this door, we can see a Nuka-Cola Quantum and some ammo and aid items. There's also a skill book. Don't want to forget that. This tunnel continues along. Looks like there's some more radiation barrels down here. I really like the lighting of this ladder. Let's get out of here. Of course, that ladder just leads back to the Bethesda Ruins. And yeah, that's kind of an easy spot to miss. Alright, so we're now here at Gold Ribbon Grocers, and I've been here in a different video. It's right here on the map, just west of Jury Street Metro Station. And I wanted to come back here because I totally missed the prize at the end. Thank you for commenting about that. Let's see if I can do this correctly this time. We'll walk in, stand here. That will do its thing. And then that happens. Right, very cool. Now we can turn and head over to this corner and see if the prize dropped. And it sure did. We have a mini nuke, couple of missiles, and a copy of Nikola Tesla and You. Very nice. Can't believe I missed this last time. There's a slide up top which drops these items. Kind of cool, but we won't spend too long here. Next up we have the Cliffside Cavern, which is right here on our map. It is a marked location, but I feel like it's really tucked away, so we'll check it out. As soon as we enter, we see that this will be a raider location. How fun. Oh, check this out, it's a basketball. I feel like those are kind of rare. This place kind of reminds me of the Bazaar area from Evergreen Mills. There's a Nuka-Cola Quantum over here on the table. That light right there is like really bright. Right? I've always liked the sound it makes when you pick these up. Oh look, more raiders. They have some fridges over here alongside some bunk beds and some more junk items. Nothing really of note. Over on this northern side there's a couple more beds and another basketball. There's a tent over here which is kind of unique. I feel like you never see these in caves in Fallout 3. Inside of it there's a pretty good haul. There's a pre-war book over here on the table, some ammo, a couple of safes, and a mini nuke. This safe on the right does have a decent amount of caps in it, so that's pretty cool. That'll be about it for the Cliffside Cavern. Not too much going on here. Now on to Calverton, which is an unmarked location. It's right here on the map, just a ways southwest of Jury Street Metro Station. There are a bunch of destroyed houses down the hill from the church, and over in this one behind me, you can find a skill book. There is a trailer here, kind of at the end of the town as you can see, but if we head inside of it, we can go over here and find another skill book, and some ammo as well. Anyway, we'll head inside of the church. Oh, there's a person on fire. That's not good. And that's not cool. Inside of the church, there's a mattress over here with some ammo beside it. Then to the left side, there's a mini nuke over there on the bench. Then back here in the corner, there's a skill book next to the toilet. Whoa, look at the corner of this building. Isn't that trippy? Wonder why it's doing that. You can only see the grass through it. Behind the podium here, there's another skill book and some caps. There's a plunger stuck to this tombstone. These churches in Fallout 3 kind of remind me of the one from Red Dead Redemption 1, where you meet Seth at for the first time, and he's digging up bodies. We've been outside enough, let's go back underground. We're over here now next to Arlington Sewer, which is right here on the map, just west of Riverboat Landing. And this is a super easy spot to miss, but we'll go check it out. Once inside, we meet some raiders. About to quick scope them. And the real question is, how long can you hold a quick scope before it becomes a hard scope? I don't know. Anyway, if we continue along, we can find these stairs, which leads us down to this bottom floor. And there's a door over here that's locked. Once that door is unlocked, we can find this loot room. There's some ammo over here on the right. Then on the left, there's a silenced 10mm pistol. Sitting on top of an armor case. Full suit of metal armor. Very cool. There's a metal helmet here. Then inside of the safe, there's 60 caps, 5 buff out, and a laser pistol. This is a decent reward for clearing out this little dungeon. It's funny because this location was kind of the motivation to make another one of these videos. I stumbled across it when I was making a different one, and I was like, hey, I've never been there before. Let's see if there's some more that I missed. And then it ended up being plenty more to go and find. So thanks, Arlington Sewer. Guys, what if we went to Point Lookout just for a little bit? Okay, fine. Twist my arm. Here we are. I actually have only one location I'd like to check out here. We're right next to Point Lookout Lighthouse. And if we look over there, there's a little island with a shelter on it. Let's go swim over there and check it out. Once we get here, there's a smuggler who's trying to snipe us. He is now dead. Now we can look around the smuggler's shack, which is an unmarked location. There's a little boat over here with a first aid kit and a couple of skeletons next to it. The shack itself has some ammo boxes over here, a mattress, pork and beans, and that's about it. I was just sitting here thinking, what's another video idea I can come up with to give me an excuse to come back to Point Lookout? I don't know. I'm sure I'll come up with something. Now, the Smuggler's Shack is a spot that I had found in the region lock video for Point Lookout that I made. Probably my favorite video on this channel, honestly. But anyway, that'll wrap it up for Fallout 3. Let's go check out the locations you probably haven't been to in New Vegas. First up in New Vegas, we have Gibson's Shack, which is just about here on the map, just a little west of Gibson's Scrapyard. Now, I did check out this location in a different video when I went and picked up all those unique miscellaneous items, but we'll check it out here as well. Let's head inside. Inside, we see quite a mess. There's a lot of chems and cigarettes everywhere. I mean, look at all these free cigarettes laying on the floor. Someone stabbed a TV with a butter knife. Someone stabbed a finger with a machete. There is this comm station terminal here, and if we access it, it says that much of the text on the screen is encoded in some sort of cipher, and we won't be able to decode it without Veronica present. I won't dive any deeper on this one, as it's tied to Veronica's companion quest. Anyway, this is an interesting location, and one I didn't know about for quite a while, but we'll keep moving along. It's time to go out of bounds again. We're here at Searchlight Airport, just a little east of the map marker, and we're over here by these fuel tanks where you can stack up some 5mm rounds next to, and then run over like this. Get up here, and get on top of the fuel tank. Easy enough. But what's really cool is you can go ahead and jump this fence here, Now we're out of bounds. And we can go quite a ways. It really just drops off into nothing over here. Just a bunch of rocks and sand. And we can just keep walking. We can walk for a really long ways. I tried it out. Spent a lot of time doing that. Apparently you can walk all the way over to the fort, but I think you might have to go west. But either way, we're out of bounds. It's kind of beautiful out here, I think. This road right here is really long. See how far away we are and it's still going? We really do just get to the desert over here, and you can see how far back those mountains are. I mean, we're kind of far out of bounds now. Check it out. And yeah, there's not too much to see out here. You can go over there to the Colorado and see the water, which is cool. But it's just really barren out here, as you can see. But we'll continue along now. Pulling up to Brewer's Beer Bootlegging, which is here on the map. We got rid of some Cazadors, but it looks like there's some more back there. And that's where we're going, so it works out perfect. These Cazadors are not ready. It's just not fair. Now we're back here at the nest, and this is probably a spot you haven't been to before. All there really is here is the duffel bag, which inside of it there's a full suit of reinforced combat armor, some aid items, and a little bit of ammo. There's also some eaten up bodies and a skeleton. That'll be about it for this cliff area. It's kind of an interesting spot. All that's really here is that duffel bag, but there is a really cool view as well. Now we're here at someone's cave home just outside of Novak, right here on the map. I really had no idea this was here before reading a comment about it. Crazy how I played this game for so many years and still missed stuff. Anyway, this guy is walking around holding a baseball bat and smoking a cigarette. Kind of cool. We can't talk to him. But he does have some items over here. There's a few frag grenades, a first aid box, and a shovel we can't interact with for some reason. I know that No Bark has his own house, but I'm kind of surprised he isn't living over here. I feel like this would make a lot more sense for him. That'll be it for this little cave near Novak. I thought it was kind of interesting. We're now just south of Nellis Air Force Base, and if we turn around, there's a tunnel. Now, you may be familiar with the other side of this tunnel and where it lets out at, but honestly, I forgot this side was here. We'll now need to pick a very hard locked door and head inside. There's a bunch of junk items here when we first enter. Then we run into a bunch of ghouls. Oh, maybe not. There's a bunch of mines here as well. I'd imagine all these were placed here by the boomers. Heading into this door on the right side, there's plenty of junk items here, and some bobby pins. There's a construction hat, some ammo, and some caps. As we continue along, we see a frag mine popping up and down through the floor over there. But more importantly, there's a Wastelander here. Poor guy. He has a fire helmet on him, which is kind of a rare item. We reached the opposite side of the tunnel, and I almost immediately got attacked by a Deathclaw. So I think that's a sign we should continue along. Alright, so now we're here at a spot that I totally forgot to check out in a past video. We're here just northwest of Bitter Springs, at the third Great Khan Supply Cave, which is right behind me. We'll head inside. I picked the wrong dialogue option and now he's hostile. Well, there was a Great Khan soldier in here who we could have convinced to leave, but I don't think that's going to happen now. Anyway, there's some decent supplies in here. Here's one of the Great Khan supply caches, which is part of a quest. There's some more ammo and crates in this room. That's about it for this location. I just wanted to come back by because I totally forgot to check this one out when I went and found the other two. Like I said, this location is technically tied to a quest, but you have to go to Bitter Springs for it, and Bitter Springs is kind of out of the way anyway. I really just like coming here because it's a nice view. I mean, look how high up we are right now. It's pretty sick. But with that, let's head to the Divide. Next up is the Courier Mile, which is right here on the map for the Divide in the Lonesome Road DLC. This area opens up after we've launched the missile at Ashton Missile Silo, and a notification does pop up for it, but I don't know about you. I always kind of get distracted and forget to come back here. Anyway, this is maybe one of the most high-level places in the game. There's heavy radiation, death claws, and marked men with top-tier weapons. I'll give you a little compilation of me fighting them, then we'll look around some. This place is no joke. As you can see, we take on a ton of radiation while we're here, and the enemies are just insane, but there is some really great loot here, so let's go find that. There's an ash pile here with a ton of caps. This marked man had a brush gun. This one had a riot shotgun. This one had a 12.7mm submachine gun. These are all really solid weapons. There's some warheads we can blow up as well. They unlock areas with these lead-lined metal boxes, which we'll check out. This one has a breathing mask, some Rad-X, and Radaway, which are appreciated. There's just a ton of great loot in this area. These emergency kits have a lot of excellent aid items in them. And just look at all this ammo you can pick up from these ammunition boxes. This metal box has a full suit of power armor in it. But yeah, this is a cool spot. I should probably head out before I die of radiation poisoning. On to our last New Vegas location. We're here at the border of the map, which is right here. It's just past the Griffin Ware Sack Caravan. There's really nothing here. I just thought it was cool looking. I guess I never took time to walk over here and see what was actually at the border of the map. There's nothing in the water, in case you were wondering. It's kind of peaceful here. I like the feel of this area. But with that, we'll head to Fallout 4. You guys like meat? We're here at the meat locker right above Choice Chops, which, as you can see, we are right next to the Diamond City Market. For some reason, I never climbed across the roofs over here to find this location. But we'll go ahead and pick this lock and head inside. And yeah, this is the entire location. We can't even take any of the meat. This place feels really strange. It's something about that lighting and the meat hanging down and the fact there's just a pile of trash over there. I wouldn't call this a food safe area, but this is about it. We'll head out. Now, this next location I really like. We're here on a beach just northeast of the Nakano residence, which the Nakano residents are right here, but we're outside of the map right now. And yeah, this is just an empty beach. There's nothing here to pick up or see or do. It's just really chill and quiet. As you can see, there's the Nakano residence right over there. There is a destroyed ship over here with some rum inside. You can see outside of the map over there where there's really nothing. I kind of wish we could build a settlement here. And this is surprisingly a really big area for being out of bounds. We can walk around a lot. Not like there's too much to see, but still. You can also walk inside of this rock, so that's a cool feature. So yeah, that's everything for this beach area. We'll continue along. We're now here at this wreck boat. Right here on our map. It's just northwest of Breakheart Banks, and it has an interior cell, so we'll check it out. It seems very random to me that this place has an interior cell, and it's just kind of in the middle of nowhere. There's a cooler with 1 beer and 1 gourd in it, a fishing rod, and a sea captain's hat, and that's really about it. I couldn't find too many good Fallout 4 locations for this video, but I did save my favorite one out of these entries for the very end. We're now on to the second to last entry in this video. We're right here on the map, just southwest of Jamaica Plain. We're heading to the Moonshiner's Shack, and as we get closer... Oh my god. That's brutal. Well, the Moonshiner is dead. Inside of his shack we can find a chemistry station with his arm right there. There's also some empty whiskey bottles he never got a chance to fill up. How tragic. There's some caps over here. There's some more whiskey outside. But that'll be about it for this location. I like that it has a little encounter associated with it. Kind of unique. But now we can head to our final location of this video. We're now here in Nuka World, just outside of the park. Right about here on the map. We're a little ways northwest of Dry Rock Gulch. And I totally stumbled across this by accident when I was making another video. But there's this little canyon over here. And as we walk closer, there's a behemoth. I'm not sure how I spent so much time in Nuka World and never found this enemy. There's a dead gazelle and a Brahmaluf. Yes, that's its name. He kind of had a bed over here and some bones in the back. I kind of wish this was a unique enemy, but it's just a regular behemoth. Well, if you made it this far into the video, which I would be impressed if you have, there is one more new entry I wanted to cover. If we head just outside of Haven, we can find the abandoned apartments, which I did visit in the video about Fallout 3 apparel you may have missed, but we'll check it out here as well. We enter this really dingy lobby area, but there is a nice chandelier at least. There are some really small damaged guard gnomes up here on top of the terminal, and there's a bunch of trogs of course. After getting rid of them, we can walk through this hole in the wall and see a bedroom here. And there's a skeleton on the bed, right next to a mannequin. Continuing along, there's this little kitchen area with a Nuka-Cola Quantum and a Nuka-Cola lamp. Don't mind that little entity moving around right there. I really like the vibe of this place. I like this wallpaper as well. I know I've said it before, but the feeling to this place is very similar to the villa in Dead Money. It's just really dark and depressing, with some mutated creatures crawling around. The yellow glow to this hallway is really cool. There's a kitchen down here at the end of the hallway, and if we turn left, we can go into another room. There's some psycho in here, and that's about it. We'll head up this ramp over here. This leads to another long hallway. Oh look, another trog. The wallpaper right here looks really cool above the kitchen. There's a very easy locked door over here we'll check out. Inside we see a skeleton on the bed and a skeleton in the corner. Over by the bathroom we see plenty of ammo boxes and 3 Chinese assault rifles. There's a Scope 44 Magnum over here on the shelf, and if we look down we can unlock a safe. Inside of that we find the Hat of the People, which gives us a +5 to small guns. Continuing down the hallway further we can enter another apartment. Oh, would you look at that? There's a second Nuka-Cola Quantum down there. Over on the southern side, there's a bunch of plates displayed. Then, in the bedroom, there's just a bunch of junk items. In the bathroom, there's a skeleton. We'll take this way down to Uptown. This puts us on the other side of that formerly average locked door that we passed by on the first floor. They sure did love their cigarettes. Then, we can head out of this door and go to Uptown, and that'll finish our time here at the abandoned apartments. And this will be the final entry. But all that being said, before I end the video, I did want to say thank you to the members of this channel. I really appreciate your support. If you happen to be interested in supporting my channel further, please feel free to consider becoming a member as well. I have the link in the description below. Well anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you for the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye now.